standardtes och supporterskullen. They're storming them.
Both the players manages to trade one out, but by a lot.
When you and breakdown has been so effective going up against
in here losing most of the gunfights. Look at this, they're kind of holding down both
Those final seconds. Now early rotations needed for NB.
defensive Esper has on.
common resolutions.
第一时间就反打，就变成说他算半职业队伍吧。我们所说的铁板烧的黑莓选手，因为他点那些手仓库跟我们的点那。
Ladies and gents, you are watching live at Garena Call of Duty Mobile. Welcome to the Garena Regional Qualifier. Today, we continue where we left off yesterday. Right back to you for group stage day number 2. Joining you in this commentary test will be me, Cali Gaming, down here, alongside Neptune, the gentleman Garcia, and later on, we will be joined by the Mustachio AJ. For those who missed what just happened yesterday, well, the big highlight was ABC ESPORTS sweeping Blacklist International Ultimate, where we expected more of a fight, but we got was a clear, decisive, and dominant victory. Now today we continue the group stage, and what awaits us today is the group of death, Neptune.
Yeah, and Group B right now brings a lot of excitement, but yesterday a lot of donuts has been served, and this time, like, because we dubbed them as a group of death, they might not be giving us donuts. I mean, probably 2 1s in here in a 3-map series, and it's just expecting a lot more from this group. But from what happened yesterday, I mean, it's only day 1 of the group stages, and a lot more might be seen from most of the teams who was served a donut from that game. But as we continue on day number 2, I'm really excited to introduce some of the teams in here, the second half of those that have had a chance to go in for the world stage, and there's a lot at stake at here, Cali, because so much more. A lot of teams has tried from the previous season, from last year, but this time they have a good chance right now. But let's check out the schedule of this tournament to find out who will be battling it for today. And here we have it. Oh, this is the tournament schedule, the overall. So we started off yesterday, and this group stages will continue on until the 14th of September. 1 day of rest for everyone else, and then we continue to from the 16th to the 18th for the playoffs. And later on, we're going to show you the format as well as how all these teams will be ending from the group stages to the playoffs, Cali, because I'm excited to see on who will show up today, because it gives us a better picture of how the playoffs will be happening moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, we have 12 teams with 9 days, and only 6 teams will be able to advance to that playoffs. Here we have the format. Group A, they have Changed World, Almighty, Huntsman, ABC, Blacklist International, Lynx, TH. For Group B, what we were mentioning is the group of death because of what you have, the amount of talents in this group itself. Number 1 in PH in Smart Omega, number 1 in Thailand in WDC Freeslot, and number 1 in Thailand in Dunya Games. And Lowkings as the number 3 spot for the Philippines. Well, we play round robin, 3 games per matchup. In the top 3 in groups A and B advance to the playoffs, where it's going to be double elimination, best of 5, and of course best of 7 for grand final matchup. And the top 2 will represent Garena region to attend the Call of Duty Mobile World Championship 2022, a $2 million prize pool. And now we have the group stage standing, as you see in here. At Group A, you got Blacklist International Ultimate sitting at the middle of the pack, and for those who miss what's happened, for those who missed what happened yesterday, well, the gunfight is a huge thing for ABC Esports when they won the game. That's one thing particularly we saw from ABC Esports yesterday. Everybody contributed, but the other thing that I want to emphasize is how well the squad also studied here, Neptune. They know the map and strengths and weakness of Blacklist International Ultimate, so they brought them to maps that they are very uncomfortable to play at, and there's a reason why I brought this up. I mean, your win rate skyrockets when you study your opponent. Teams should pick up the trend and should consider gathering statistics because it aids you to win games. And the ABC versus Blacklist series yesterday is the testament of that. And now Group B is in here. And I think it's all about the strategies and it's all about the gunfights in this match.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully the teams right now from Group B was able to study and do their homework as well, because as you mentioned, it is detrimental for the team who have been on the other end of the mind game, especially from what we've seen from Blacklist Ultimate. But from what we've seen earlier on the standings, two teams was able to get two series wins for that day number 1. So I guess the other teams who only played one game has an opportunity in upcoming days of the group stages. But so far, really excited on what this team is going to show up for Group B. We have NGU, West Point Mambo Lowkings, Ace, Dunya Games, Smart Omega, as well as WDC Freeslot. These teams, really only a few are showing up this time that is new in terms of name, but most of them, I'm pretty sure they are here to bring the action and bring on a lot of Call of Duty mobile gameplay, Callie.
I mean, one thing more than likely that we will see from Dunya Games, WDC Freeslot and Smart Omega, the similarity that they have is basically they've been playing the Garena Regional Qualifier since 2020. So with that being said, this team has a lot of team chemistry and a lot of repetition when it comes to playing here at this major event. And what you see in here right now is WDC Freeslot, Anowin, Guitar, C1, Chick and Smith. WDC Freeslot marks their 3rd straight appearance in Garena Regional Qualifier. They've been one of the oldest and rock-solid team Thailand has to offer. Came so close to being the representative of Garena Codem server on the world stage in 2020, only losing to NRX Jeremiah 2911, which is now known as Smart Omega Neptune.
Yeah, I really love how well WDC Freeslot have been showing up, and this time from the qualifiers, they have a perfect, if not almost perfect, games from when they qualified onto the stage 4. But I'm really excited on how they will battle it on, because so far from what we mentioned earlier or yesterday, I mean, they have been fighting it off within their region, but when they show up against the other region, the gameplay will be different. The meta at some point has a change, and as well as the tactics. Study is a good part as well for this team. And as we look at WDC Freeslot, though we don't see them that much, and if I remember correctly, previously they were in a boot camp from the last time that we saw them, but hopefully we'll see more of the players out here. I'm pretty sure they're ready on this fight, Callie, because this is where, though it's only day number 2, the first day for this group, I'm pretty sure they are here to bring a lot more to us and a lot more excitement on the gameplays that we're about to see. Now, we are introducing their opponents, NGU, with Lily, Black, Lago, Ray, Leng G, and Cloud. Now, this team of NGU coming from Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau region. I mean, the top 2 of the team from the qualifiers, Callie.
Yeah, looking forward to how well does Lago actually play for this team, because this is one of the key players for NGU and the reason why they were able to beat LO Jing Wante on the semi-final round in order for them to qualify here at the stage 4. But up against WDC Freeslot, I mean, a classic David and Goliath story in here. WDC outshines NGU in map win percentage, so cards are definitely stacked against NGU Esports. They have to pick their cards in this match very wisely. One wrong move could lead to a devastating loss, and they have to pick and choose their battles in here. So it seems like we're also going to see Lily actually play into this game. So once again, strategy is going to be very important in here to go up against WDC Freeslot, who obviously have better map win percentage and of course a very stratified team chemistry.
Yeah, and speaking of maps right now, though we're going ahead for the map bans, but I think with the data that we gathered, Cali, I mean, we're expecting that standoff would be one of the bans from WDC Freeslot because so far it has been mostly banned for their team, but we can expect firing range as well as Hacienda. And the same goes for NGU. And it's mostly Hacienda that they don't want to play it. And it's more of WDC Freeslot if they did the homework, if they can bring the game there, because so far, even if that's part of their ban maps, they can win games from that map.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, WDC Freeslot, they did have firing range and standoff, actually played once in standoff, twice in firing range, wherein it was played at Search and Destroy, and this is where this team actually excels at the most. Search and Destroy Grey Mode is their baby, and their second baby is going to be that Hardpoint. And although they also have a dominant performance at Control in their stage 3 at All in Legendary 2022, they actually had one loss, and that was against Lynx TH at Hacienda at Control Game Mode. So apart from that, this team could have gone 100% win rate as well, a steamroll going into the stage 4, but this team has been so dominant. But how well are they going to pair up against NGU Esports? Will they stratify their defense once again in here, as the offensive is going to be likely very, very known for this team? So like the defense really is where I'm looking out forward to the most for this team, because they've been so offense, but once they go up against those bigger teams, those bigger names, Neptune, they really have to do both, and of course have to excel at it as well.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, at some point, being a little bit on the offensive side, going in for the rush most of the time, and that works at some point, at some level, but not so much every time. So they need to strategize as well to slow it down to a point wherein they can get the momentum later on, and then just hype it up later on to the latter part of each game. We're talking about like not only one specific mode, but Hardpoint, Search and Destroy, even Control. Tactics just like that, moving in on different variation, different speed, really works for either of the teams who can plan it out, who did well on rotation, especially in respawns like Hardpoint and Control. But let's check out which of this team or which maps would the team will be playing on. Started off with the bans right here. So Sparrow and was banned by WDC Freeslot, and NGU taken out Annihilator. Takeoff will be taken out in here by WDC for the map, and Hacienda, as expected, will not be played in here because of the choosing of NGU. But for this first Hardpoint, I mean, this is one thing that I mean, rotations, the money hill right here, especially for that P3, it is one thing that they need to prepare for, Cali, because P1 and P2, if you can get that, you can let go of some part of P3. But what do you think can be the advantage of either team in here jumping into Hardpoint?
Yeah, first and foremost, Summit Hardpoint, P1, P2, again, we have to emphasize the personality of what the Hardpoint has. First and foremost, you have the gunfights in there. A lot of action in that middle of the map. So as much as possible, you would want to get the upper leverage up against your opponent. So second Hardpoint, first Hardpoint, there's one thing in common that this team has. And of course, chaining that top 4 control. You get that, you basically win a lot of gunfights. Then not to mention the cheeky angles that will be right beside the staircase at the middle of the map. So very important that you take into consideration the power positions at those first few set of hills. Then moving forward to P3, P4, normally you would want to get that early rotation for you to get that great setup inside the hills. And that being said, I mean, so long as you get that early rotation, you're guaranteed a lot of money hills in here. So the task is here is on the offensive side. When you are on the late rotation, you got to win your battles as well. So of course, you got to use either your tactical utilities to help you close in and of course take down some players with it, or maybe use that score streak and that specialist to maybe try to create an ingress to enter inside. And once again, as we hop inside this battlefield, it is a map pick by NGU, but currently at the moment, Hardpoint still one of the best game mode that WDC Freeslot have coming into this matchup. So NGU has to play 100%, no, maybe 110% for them to win this game.
Yeah, I mean 110 or 200, everything. And this is where they put in everything that they have right now to make a win, to get those points right now. Though it's only the group stages as they prepare onto the playoffs. It secures that top 3 spot, and both WDC as well as NGU needs to make a lot of effort. And I love what you mentioned about chaining in there. P1 to P3, the chains will be much easier because of how close it is. It's more of triangular, and the guarantee of P3, especially that money hill out there, if they can anchor towards that water tower, making the team spawn a little bit closer to that hill, it will give them the advantage of early rotation or quicker rotation towards that. But onto P4, because how far it is, I mean, they might take advantage of taking kills or getting killed into the gunfight because of the positioning, and then one can be anchored for the other side to spawn from that. So it's more of tactics. A lot has been talked about in here. It's more of how WDC and NGU will be playing it out.
Yeah, especially in that P4, most of the time that's where you usually see the score streaks and the operator skills up for use, because that's where you normally have it actually activated after all of the kills, and of course the hardpoint time that you get, it basically will be activated and earned. But for the meantime, before we even talk about this first match, again, for NGU Esports, all the cards are stacked against them, and they better find the way to pick and choose their battles here very wisely, because they're going up against, I have to reiterate it once again, they're going up against WDC Freeslot, who had 27 wins, 1 map loss, a 96.43% on their stage 3. Their stage 3 qualifier. So that basically says a lot about what this team can do. Overall, they have their strategies backed up. They have their mappings basically mastered. Well, I want to go and point out the map bans as well here for WDC Freeslot. They did ban Takeoff, and I think it's kind of a best way for them to kind of hide it away from whoever's watching this match here right now, because that Takeoff is, although they did ban it, that's actually one of their best maps in Hardpoint. 5-0 going into this stage number 4, 100% win rate. So kind of a very tricky spot for them. But with that being said, NGU Esports to get to pick Hardpoint and Control. So we did have that Hardpoint, which will be, I believe, a very good map that they will choose, because WDC Freeslot only played it one time. But then again, they also pick map number 3, which is Control, and they picked Raid. So very interesting in here, because they're going in that map where cards are gonna be more than stacked against them, because that's where WDC Freeslot actually shines the most in Control, having to play five matches in there, having to be undefeated. So again, looking at the map picks, it's going to be oriented to the side of WDC Freeslot in here, Neptune.
Yeah, I mean, for the way explained it for WDC Freeslot, I mean, there's not a lot of options to choose in terms of picking a map. Even the bans out there, like even if they take one that they are best of, when you look at the greater picture of WDC Freeslot, it's like high probability that they can take the win. But NGU might have something to offer at this point, and again, we might have some history, we might have some stats. That is how they are playing within their region. But when they meet up against other region, tactics will be different, gameplays will be different, and the engagement will be different as well. So this is a more of understanding of how well the game as well as the teams will be able to play it off and get to that playoff spot. As we started off, it is Summit right now on Hardpoint. WDC Freeslot battling against NGU Esports, Cali.
And now here we go, first game for the day. Sorry for all the wait, but now we are locked up and ready as the game finally loads up. And Hardpoint number 1 exactly located in the middle of the map, so scrappiest time of the hill. And once again, you would like to have the top floor control in here, and so far so good for WDC Freeslot, already in making their map control felt in here. The presence is on the second floor already, and kind of a split spawn situation for NGU, which definitely will be giving WDC Freeslot a lot more time, and of course accumulating the time in the hill, and of course getting all the kills inside this matchup right now. As you see, they dominate in every board here, Neptune.
Yeah, I mean, I love the position of Cheek right now. This is what we're talking about the staircase and how well you can position yourself and get the frags as well. They can cut off the approach of NGU from this point, and then they can also flip the spawn so that they will be coming in from that area. But they need to be careful as well, because a 2F is one thing that they need to secure, as they are in a few will be getting into P2, and that is a one way to get in. The other sides might be a little bit too open for NGU to take you out, but looking at the scores right now, 53-0, it is looking good for WDC Freeslot.
And not only that, you see number 3 in yellow, the bottom left side of that minimap, you see they already have the power position and of course the good spawns moving into P2, so they might as well chain it in here for that P3 rotation as well. So they really know what to do in here. They study up this game and vote for Lily, looking to win that gunfight, but finally gets shot down in there. So far, it has been so good for WDC Freeslot. No, they have been so too good. I mean, look at the way that they have been able to control this match. And now, they're going to continue to contest ANA, pushing up inside the point. They're going to spot that player on the barrels. Will not be able to find any kill just yet. Up there, as he repositions right through the mid entrance. Going to find one more in there. 10-72, and so far for NGU, they've been struggling to get majority of the map control in this matchup, let alone the gunfight as well. So they have to do something about that.
Yeah, I mean, apart from holding the point or the hills, you also need to focus on the spawns and where you're going to bring it. That's where the anchor comes in. And so far, it has been flipped already by NGU, because we are now heading in onto the next hard point. But a good thing that we have the special forces already covered, and as I mentioned earlier, water tower needs to be the placement of that anchor so that they will be spawning a little bit closer. But I think that approach has been cut off right now by WDC Freeslot. 24 has been gathered already by NGU, but despite of that position, they are still being taken down. WDC will be taking more of this hill, and they are getting close to that century mark.
Yeah, great hardpoint hold so far for WDC Freeslot, and Chick right here needs to win this huge gunfight, but there it goes. Black will be able to win that, so that should spawn a team on the left side. So there it is. That's what the team needs, and that's what they get. Final 20 seconds, and if you're NGU, you have to decide, are you going to go and continue to push this P3, or are you going to set up for the next at P4? Well, it seems like they're going to add one more player to contest at P2, then they will set up for the rest here at this P3, but P4. So with that being all said, we will be having WDC Freeslot claiming all this scrap time in here, which is going to be a great surplus for them, as they now have almost 100-point lead inside this matchup. Well, one thing that they've really been doing so far in this matchup is winning all the gunfights and being able to have the initiative to engage and almost take down NGU every time, over and over again. So now P4 opens up. We will have 50 seconds in there. No one really able to get some hard point time in there as well, but we do see WDC Freeslot cleaning the point and clearing the perimeter. So they have the spawns, they have the hard point. This is just like a film. They are just playing this like a poetry.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's already part of the plan right now of WDC to clear it off. And so far, it's only Cheek that hasn't had a double-digit frags. And we keep mentioning that at this point, frags is really a good factor to flip the spawns and to move it to your favor. And that is what WDC Freeslot has been doing so far. There was an attempt for NGU, especially from that P3 earlier. But at this point, since it was flipped once again and they were pushed out of that P4, they will not be getting any of the points right there. Imagine it's 158-28. So much effort needs to be done by NGU right now to catch up. But looking at the position of the map right now, or of the teams in the map, it's Smith who is taking a lead on this next cycle on P1.
I mean, this is just a run over now. It's time for Chick to just basically burn more players in here. The total map control, clearly them in favor, as Chick will be able to extend out more in the greens, basically making more opportunities done and dealt with for Freeslot. Now with Guitar actually being able to streak up with that shotgun, that alone is going to be very, very important for this team as they look to end this matchup. Chick will be able to find more kills in here, and NJU looking so flat when it comes to finding kills in here, let alone stepping inside this hard point. WDC Freeslot, this might just be the first 50-point club in this Garena regional qualifier. At this point, at this phase that they are playing, they can't seem to just play around. They just want to end this mercilessly. And well, it's clearly showing off.
Yeah, I mean, a 200 mark already reached by WDC Freeslot, and NGU still not moving in terms of points. The frags is already moving in towards a favor of the yellow team, and well, the NGU is now being turned yellow right now, but they were able to step into the hill and now gather a few points. But again, as we've seen so many times, being pushed over by WDC Freeslot in this. Only a few points, less than 50 points in order for them to secure the win. And here comes all those streaks as well as operators that can be used by this team so that they can secure that additional point to end this game. This might be the remaining 27 seconds for this match, and this might be the end. But with that point, with those seconds, I think we might be going into the next hill.
Yeah, guaranteed we will be seeing that next hill, but that doesn't remove the fact that WDC Freeslot continue to soak up the time in here, and they're not in the worst spot here either. They will be soaking up this final scrap time, and they also set up next at the left side of the minimap. Right through P3 we go, with number 3 just heavily holding down that power position, and of course the angle spawns, and this is where it kind of gets alarming. And you know MGU has been struggling all of the gunfights, and you see the score sheet that WDC Freeslot has. They have 4 players fully streaked up, and they also have their operating skills activated, and Guitar making more insult to the damage that's already been done. Boy, 8 more points to go. Now we go count it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 50-point club officially initiated. NGU will be the first one to taste that as WDC Freeslot takes map number 1.
And we had great hopes that NGU might be able to bring in the fight in against WDC Freeslot, but because of how well WDC Freeslot just started it off even before jumping in onto the stage 4 from the qualifiers, we have read already the performance they have. And with that high stats coming from WDC Freeslot, it's no question that the game will be favorable towards him. It's more of how NGU will be trying to flip it around, especially as they change pace on that search and destroy. But if we look at this, when we check out the number of frags out here being done, and now Win being that top fragger, almost 40, and well, positive KDs all the way in here. Well, not all the way, because we're seeing Cheek right now, a little bit balanced, but 4 members of WDC with positive KDs average in this fight. I mean, no question that they can flip the spawn, they can turn it around towards their favor, and NGU has little to no chance in there to fight back. But again, hoping that they can get back in here, because this is not a way to start off your way to the playoffs. If you want to step in the playoffs, you need to put double or triple your effort to bring in the fight. And our MVP, and now in with 39 kills, 4,900 onto the points.
Yeah, he's going to be that main player for WDC Freeslot when it comes to playing the offensive setups, and he's going to be that opener, and he's going to be that playmaker most of the time, with Guitar actually being the secondary frontman for this team. And what you would love to highlight there for WDC Freeslot is they kept sending one more player, one more over and over again, and they were just so fast in that summit hardpoint. And the next thing you know, NGU got to the back foot and never got in front of it, as WDC Freeslot will be claiming map number 1, 50-point club. And now we move in to this stand-up search and destroy, where it's going to be a map pick this time around by WDC Freeslot. And to make things matter worse, well, WDC Freeslot 100% win rate on this search and destroy game mode as well. They have played stand-up on stage 3 where they had a 100% win rate. But here, focusing on the present, just looking at that first game, this could just be another run over. But I will not count out NGU just yet, because maybe they have something in hand in here. Maybe they're more of a search and destroy team, but there's only one way to find it out. And if they play this standoff right as we load up into it.
Yeah, I mean, search and destroy usually change the pace of the game. If you might have lost a respawn match, which is Hardpoint, search and destroy is a chance for you to get it back. But what worries me is if that is what happened on Hardpoint earlier, we might be looking at a dire performance when it comes to control. Though it's similar to Search and Destroy, but we still need to get a read on how NGU will be playing it on SND. WDC Freeslot so far, as mentioned, as well as Red on the data, they have good work in terms of SND. In standoff, like not so much games has been from the qualifiers, but we all know that they can play this smart, they can play it tactically. It's more of the response of NGU to do the same so that they can fight it off, probably balance off the 1-0 that we have from that hard point.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing that things are going to slow up here as we dial in at standoff. And if you're NGU, you gotta lock it down, find your groove, and just make sure you improve that mid-rounds decision all over again. Now, as we go inside the game, it's going to be WDC Freeslot starting off as the defenders and NGU being that attackers. But what worries me most here is that WDC Freeslot, they are confident coming into this matchup, so they might play a very aggressive defensive side in here. And speaking of the devil, they already have 2 players sent out of the mid-map. And with that being said, first blood John, but the move here for NGU is to go and plant at A, which I like because they have a driven purpose, but the flank already happening for WDC, and now for NGU, things are looking to be kind of a very sandwich situation in here.
Yeah, it's a 3v4 situation at this point. The chase is on, and I'm quite surprised as NGU will be backing off right now. They will be turning their backs against WDC Freeslot on 1v3 situation. It's not looking good for them. It's the take back by Black, but he will be traded off, and there goes 1 point moving towards WDC Freeslot. They are in defender, but the aggressiveness of WDC at this point is bringing NGU to a good halt that they cannot put in the tactics into play.
Yeah, I mean, WDC Freeslot, one thing more than likely that we see from Hardpoint is how the way they play. It's they really play fast in here, but now a good play from Lagos. He finds that double, making that play and creating the opening for this team to actually move around the mid-map. But Chick actually spots the player against Lang. There it goes. That's going to be 1 elimination done, but the player on the back, this is going to be very important. Lago will be way behind enemy lines, and Black upfront engagements. Yeah, takes him down. All right, the bomb planted, 27 seconds here. Lago creating big plays right now. One more up front, and C1 officially shot down. We have a 1v1. But
yeah,
did I just see a UAV activated?
I don't know. There has to be some explanation on that. Yeah, and they're going for the takedown against Lago, and the Defusal is on 2-0 onto the points right now, but we'll have to check on how or what happened right there, because if I'm not mistaken, when we look at the rule set, UAV is something that they need not to use in here, but well, we'll have to check. We'll have to check later on once we have that feedback. But as we continue on this game, it's still 2-0 lead by WDC Freeslot. Good start by Lago as well. Ray and Nawin has been taken down already, and they have the momentum. Black was able to go in for the plant and the rotation right now. Oh, cheek, and they're almost taken down, but Ray will be going for the rush. The backstab from C1 takes him down.
Yeah, great job so far by NGU getting that first blood. Now they just have to convert it, but the flank coming through for WDC Freeslot. Yeah, on the back. Takes down Lago, so that's 2 more players to worry about, and Chick will be up front in here at this cubby. Gets 1 more player shot down. It's all down to Lang right on the mid-map, and will be officially taken care of by Yeah, and another round in here favoring WDC Freeslot. And one thing that I really like from this team is they really play aggressive. They can take you down up front, but they really also send out players at the back of the P2. So they're basically ready for any engagements, always initiating that flank situation where they could trap NGU Esports. But with that being said, we're moving into round number 4, and it seems like they're going to have the same setup in here, moving around this A side.
Yeah, the quick push into Alpha right now. Black was able to go in for the takedown, but they will be contested, and now he was able to take down Black, and back-to-back frags, ending that game when we thought that will be a successful plant and even a win, or a chance for a win for NGU. GG's in there for them. WDC a little too quick on the adjustment as well. But from what I'm seeing in this game, they are splitting up a little too thin, and they need to slow the pace. Even if WDC Freeslot is going in for the rush, they need to slow it down, tone it down a little bit, back off, and get those initial frags, or probably follow it up later on, and then focus onto the plan, Callie.
Yeah, I mean, Black just basically played a very aggressive route in here. Look at that. It's just roaming around the map. Now, already in the A side, and Lago will be initiating way behind enemy lines. This is going to be perfect for this team as they want to go for that elimination. But there's going to be a flank happening too. He tried to flank, and there's a guy on the flank, so there's like kind of a flank to flank in situation in there. And one thing more than likely that we have here, WDC Freeslot winning more of the engagements. I love the risky plays that NGU has put up into this matchup, but it hasn't really been able to translate into round wins. And it continues to be Freeslot that continues to convert all the shots and all of these rounds. They have something to find. They need to adjust something in here, which I think would not happen in this round number 6 with the way WDC has been ramming around the barracks and already in behind this enemy line.
Yeah, I mean, if the play would be having one go in for the plant and then later on dying off, that is not a good play from NGU. This time we have Leng, see a little bit too far, a little bit too deep, but the backup is in there, also too far behind. And now when taking down Leng, and it is now left to Black. Black might have a distance opportunity right now, but might be able to go in for the hit. Lily was able to take down, but also been traded, and Black. And now when seeing them from that first floor, not looking good. It is match point already for WDC Freeslot.
Yeah, great job so far from this team from the converting all the round wins, and we will be having a referee pause match in here, likely due to the situation that we had at that first round where we did see Black or Lago actually have that UAV used earlier. So that really hurts the odds of this team winning. So that could be possibly be investigated, and we will confirm later on what will happen on that map number 2. But just talk about the pace and rhythm that we did see from both teams. A huge contrast in here. You have WDC Freeslot that loves to play aggressive, but they also have strategies in there. So it's a calculated aggressiveness they allocated inside the match. They can take you down up front, but they also have the players around the back to take you out as well. So a lot of pincer maneuver that's going to be initiated by this team. Then you take a look at the boys of NGU, a lot of individual plays. And I love those risky plays, but it's not converting as a win. So it really takes a toll on their win rate in here, Neptune.
Yeah, I mean, individuality, you might be able to get kills, especially for the performance of Black, but you need to work as a team, especially on Search and Destroy. And if you go into the pace of WDC Freeslot, as we've seen so far so many times from NGU, I mean, it will not work if you try to go as a similar pace, fast pace. They need to slow it down. They need to pull back on those rotation and get those initial frags, which they are doing already. Now, we'll have to check if they pull back, they get the initial frags, and the rotation they have afterwards. Because so far from how they approach that, Black getting that first blood, but still dying afterwards, it's not looking good for the rest of the team. So if it's Black taking the lead in this game, he needs to pull back the moment they get that kill, regroup, and then plan a better approach towards which point they want to go for the plant.
I mean, maybe stay close to proximity and just basically play for trades. I mean, when you have number advantage against your team, against your opponent, you will basically have the chance, more than likely, for you to come in with more initiations and get that trade to happen. That would not see from NGU so far in this one. You would see one player extend out around the enemy lines right through the deli and of course secure some kills or two, and when he gets taken down, no one really able to back him up. And again, the bomb plan, as the attacker usually would want to create the pressure in here, but that we didn't see from this team because they're so worried about what's gonna happen in the future without worrying about the present. So the mind games that Freeslot have allocated in this matchup, basically taking a toll on what NGU Esports is doing inside this game. But then again, first blood conversion is likely what really wanted to talk about. You talked about this already. Black able to get like a multi-kill. Then again, they can't really convert. And the main reason why is because this team is not playing overall. Playing for trades is one thing, but they don't actually do that.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment that they get the initiation and the first blood, they jump into alpha. Wherein that is what that's not where the kill happened. Usually, when you take a rotation that is towards where the frag happened, you wait for the backup coming in from the rest of the teams of WDC Freeslot, and then get another frag. Now, once everyone has been pulled in there, that's when you rotate to the other side, and it's more of playing in the mind games. But NGU might be pressured so much because of what we've seen on Hardpoint, and this time it's being translated on Search and Destroy, and they bashed them heads so many times on that alpha, knowing that there will be two members of the WDC Freeslot already waiting for them. Even if they're prepared to plant, they will be cut short in there, broken, and then taken down later on, left with only a few members to try to fight them off. But numbers game has already been flipped, Callie.
Yeah, and it really hurts even more because of how this team actually decided to take matters in this game. And this is their map pick. If I'm not, oh no, this is a map pick by WDC Freeslot. So I kind of get like the point that Freeslot is actually dominating this game, but like the damage is just so huge. You basically, as the second place of Taiwan, you would want to have more fight in this team, but that we didn't see from them at the moment. And maybe after this reset or this restart of the game, maybe we will find a way for them to actually get the group back together. Well, for now, we will just have to wait and see what's going to be the action that will be leading towards this map number 2. Well, let's talk about WDC Freeslot overall. I mean, this team love playing Hardpoint, and they also love playing SND. And one thing, in fact, that we definitely see here so far is how well Guitar has been playing with that KRM. Normally, in the Season 7 meta, you would have that KSP dominating those Peacekeepers, but this guy earlier at that Hardpoint scored a lot of kills, a lot of frags, and basically even fully scored straight up. I mean, that's basically impressive. Just looking at the way this team actually played and how Guitar actually created impact inside this game. Well, honestly, that's all I can say in here. So with that being said, we will be seeing the maps and modes here once again. So 7-0 decision in here for stand-up search and destroy. And we're moving into the final map already. We will not be seeing the ending of that map number 2. But anyway, moving forward, raid control. A map pick by NGU, but this is where WDC Freeslot dominates even more. And well, this could go really, really good or really, really bad.
I mean, we've seen already what happened at Hardpoint as well as Search and Destroy. But I mean, though it's technicality, the Search and Destroy happened finished off a little bit early, but we've seen a glimpse of what what WDC Freeslot has to offer in Search and Destroy. And like what we keep mentioning and pointing out, that when lives are being counted down, it's pretty much half and half of the first two modes that we have, and that is control. It is a matter of making the push towards Alpha or Bravo with maintaining the lives or the respawns that you have. If you're a defender, then one tactic that you can get is let them take one of the point and then funnel it later on, but that would depend on your mechanical skills. We'll have to see on which gameplay they are going to have right now. WDC Freeslot going against NGU on this raid control.
Yeah, as we start looking at the POB of Chick, they will be starting on the defensive side. So game mode control, basically a defensive oriented map. So when you are placed on this defensive side, you're guaranteed to have more power positions, and the spawn is clearly going to be in your favor. For now, for NJU, what are the routes are you going to take? Are you going in for that split, divide, and conquer gameplay? Or are you going to full stack and flood one of these control points? Well, for now, they will be flushed out toward the B side. So with 1 and 3 players, they actually taken down for NJU. They will be removing and readjusting their game style in here by pushing around the A site. But WDC, look at how well they read this game. Already in for that spawn trap enabled. This is not looking friendly right now. Anamin will be able to spot one more player right across the garage, and that's going to be more eliminations coming true for him. 2 in a row. I mean, WDC Freeslot. This is a massacre.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of hold has been done with WDC Freeslot right now, and that early spawn trap has been triggered already. 26 onto the lives left for WDC, wherein NGU is already counting it down. And not only that, the timer is also counting down. Anawin as well as Yeah has already taken 2 more, and it's still dwindling down. Like It doesn't matter which counts down first,
God.
whether it's the live or the time. It is looking well for WDC Freeslot at this point, and the battle continues, and it ends that quickly as well, Callie.
Well, I'm quite surprised, but I didn't expect this team to be actually that good when it comes to the defensive side. But then again, you really have to emphasize how great the number one squad of Thailand is as we look at the way they defended and, of course, trap this team. And the players right through the garage can't really even break the spawns. And now, as they go in attack, they're clearly going to see them play more faster as they will be in at the B side, already having one tick already said and done. 3 life count deficit in here for NGU. And right now, one thing that they gotta do is maybe work on that initial flank or maybe try to initiate the spawn trap as well, just like what WDC Freeslot was able to do earlier. But Chick will be able to take one down. And wow, I love the way that WDC take this game.
Yeah, it's one thing that like NGU didn't do really is prioritize on the power position, especially in laundry, because they might have a good cover as well as a good chance to take frags out there, as the teams will be taking square center on this statue right now. But the C1 is going in for this rush once again to capture and complete this tick onto Bravo, and then later on move in towards Alpha, which is already being initiated by this guy on number 3. It is yeah right now going in for that, but the heady will not help. Ling, as well as a turnaround. Yeah is on a roll. 11 frags already, and it's looking at pretty much the same from what we've seen for the first round, Callie.
Yeah, another spawn trap enabled in here. Number 4 in blue locking down the laundries. Number 2 guarding that kitchen control, and you got number 3 breaking some ankles in the basketball court. Yeah, about to go down with one more gunfight in here. Tactical controls are going to be very important, but finally they get shut down, but Anime will be there for the trade. Gets one, but Lang able to get that refrag, but that's not gonna help them actually. The damage is already done, and Chick continues to add and inflict more damage onto that. One more life count for NGU, and C1 is there for the cleanup. 2-0. It seems like the donut story continues today here, Neptune.
Yeah, I didn't order any donut, but it's being offered and delivered, and I think it will be very fresh because of how fast it is happening right now. We're getting close right here to the end of this, just in case WDC Freeslot will be able to maintain this lead as well as the frags that they're doing against NGU. There's not so much on the tactics anymore in retaking and capturing those flags. All they have to do is just spawn trap them and then take control of the lives, dwindling down for the side of NGU. And Cheek Guitar as well as C1 is doing a great job right now holding this spawns, and even as that guy number 2, Lago, was able to like get away from that trap. Not so much for the rest of the teams, and they will be stuck in here, and we are seeing a Goliath being pulled out. It's a little bit too far though, but how cheeky can you get pulling out a Goliath at this point wherein NGU is not even crossing the line from the middle?
I mean, the setup of WDC Freeslot reminds me so much of when I watched WPM Lowkings take their take here at this raid control. I mean, they sent out Yopi and TJ to do so well, and of course controlling all the spots. And they have Kalo, they get behind enemy lines, and they go and push out. And that's the same thing that WDC Freeslot has been doing, you know, just trying to gatekeep that mid map, get that map control all over again. 15 seconds left for NGU, and the life count is doubled in here. So there also is a double XS1 Goliath inside the game. So like, it's not completely friendly in here, and we will be having WDC Freeslot continue the victory. The dominance is clear. 3-0 as Freeslot also claims the series in a dominant win.
Yeah, the donut has been baked, but I don't think it made it in time because of how quick the battle happened for all 3 modes right now. But it has been served already, and it is a little bit sticky because WDC Freeslot has made that so fast. NGU, I'm looking forward to them flipping it for the next battle that they are going into. They need to study on what mistakes they made on this match. Otherwise, like, they might be feeling the same thing over and over again, and you don't want that. You don't want that for a team, especially with them who has a chance to stand in onto the playoffs right now. But As we can see, two of the members already of NGU is not showing up in here on the scores. But when we look at the K days right now, it's double negative at this point.
Yeah, double negative. Then you have black with quadra negative, and I am starting to feel like there's a little bit more negative situation in here for NGU. But hey, it's kind of okay. First game jitters. It actually happens to the best of us, and for NGU, this could be a one bad matchup for them, but they can still turn it around later on against Ace Esports from Malaysia. But looking at the highlights in here, WDC Freeslot, the way they just take in the angles is just too perfect for my liking. They sent out Anowin to control that mid-map. They got collecting the kills at the gym, and not to mention the long-range action that Chick actually provides for this team. They are the total package when it comes to control, and there's a reason why they love playing Raid, and it's because of how well they master it up. And you got your MVP for that control Raid. It's going to be Chick with 17 kills, 2,059 points, and the difference maker with that Rytech AMR, using that to his advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I really love as well how WDC Freeslot didn't they don't troll around. They didn't play around with how they played out all the maps. I mean, they are focused. They are still maintaining the rotations that they have, as well as their tactics right now. And I would say there's much more, even if you have so much of a lead, as much more of respect in there that has been given by WDC Freeslot towards NGU. And a 3-0 win by WDC Freeslot right now. As you can see from the scores, it is not so much, so I'm still encouraging NGU to bring it up for the next match, but for this time they will be down in there, cleaned up by WDC Freeslot. And a good start for WDC, but not so much for NGU, and so fast in this game, Cali. And I don't have a time to sweat at that point, because we just finished that first game. But let's check out the leaderboards right here. The codes right now. I'm pretty sure the viewers out there, and would like to thank you as well, because for your viewership as well as the like and shares, we are giving out this code. So make sure that you take a screenshot, and though it's unlimited, it's only limited once the broadcast is ended. So make sure you put that in there already. Share the correct code on the comment section so that we don't see any complaints out from those getting the wrong codes.
And now, of course, if you want to make sure that you get this, open up your Garena Call of Duty mobile application. Make sure you venture out and look at the Redemption Center and type this code right here to make yourself get some silver crate coupons. And we will be handing out more coupons. And of course, we will be handing out more of this redemption codes. But well, what just happened in here?
I just lost Callie in here in the visuals, but we can still hear you, bro. So don't worry. You are still with us at this point. But thank you very much once again for all who have shared the stream, and also who went in here and joined us in live stream. A lot more will be offered in you, and we come back on the next series. This is a Call of Duty Mobile Garena Regional Qualifiers. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. This is Call of Duty Mobile World Championship 2022 Garena Regional Qualifiers Day number 2. And we are here back with the Mustachio AJ, and Callie will be resting a bit. And this is where we bring you the second game of this day. The first match so far, the first series so far, not so much donut has been served, but I'm looking forward to a different story this time, AJ, for this next series.
Fat chance that you're going to see a different story. This is the team of Ace representing Malaysia, or as they used to be known as NV Doctors, and they have lost one of their greatest assets. Zen has moved on over to the Huntsman, which makes the players of Ace super vulnerable, and they are taking on one of the most strategic teams in the competition, West Point Mamba Lowkings. Now this might not be the most dominant team out of MSP, but they sure as hell are more than capable of delivering yet another donut of the day, Neptune.
Yeah, I mean, with the performance of West Point Mamba Lowkings, really, there's a great possibility that donut will be delivered. We have Demors, Klo, Luffy, Olea, Epox, and MJ right here. West Point Mamba Lowkings from the Philippines. And from what we've seen, especially on the Garena Masters in there, they didn't do that well when it came off to the playoffs from the from the stages out there. There's a perfect win for them from the group stages, and that is just the quality that West Point Mamba Lowkings has to offer.
Yeah, and you know, in terms of the quality that they offer out there on the battlefield, they've been able to show us what we always beg and dream for out of teams: consistency. Not only have they been consistent in the days of past, in the months and years of months, I can't say years yet, months of past, what they've also been able to do is consistently improve their gameplay and strategy time and time again. Competition after competition, the West Point Mamba Lowkings just gets so much more adept at dominating their opponents. And it's all thanks to a person on their squad who's not a player, but their coach. Coach Olea has a simple goal. He wants to be the best Call of Duty Mobile coach out there, and he's really putting in the work, and he can't get there without the effort of his boys. And he's really lucky because the boys have the same dream. They want to be the best team out there. And now they have to go up against Team Ace, who recently lost their best player, Yelpo, Gary, MIB, Stefan, as well as Pika. They step up to the grounds out there on the battlefield to take this victory. But I really wonder exactly what sort of problems they will face out there, because they're pretty much playing with a brand new composition here, and it's not very easy to really down some of your strategy when you just put a team together so close to D-Day at stage 4.
Yeah, I mean, from the records that we have right now, it's not even reaching 50%, and they have Zen previously. Now, losing Zen might lower the chance, but I mean, you know me, I'm a guy who have hopes everywhere, whether it's hopeless, I still have that hope. So I'm looking forward to Ace in there, just moving up against West Point Mamba Lowkings, no matter how hopeless it might look.
Yeah, I mean, it's just gonna be a story of like NGU earlier on, but the biggest question is how dominant of a victory will the West Point Mamba Lowkings be able to secure? Purifier, Annihilator, both banned out already, with the Purifier taken out by West Point Mamba Lowkings. Now, this is a no-nonsense team. They don't bother throwing out baits whatsoever. They just remove whatever they know is gonna be OP that can be used against them, and they also remove the summit map from the equation. Now, this is not very surprising. It is actually shocking, because if you look at the statistics of themselves at Summit, they've only dropped it once at Hardpoint, but they don't want to take any chances at all. That's exactly the kind of team West Point Mamba Lowkings is.
Yeah, similar to what we've seen from WDC Freeslot earlier, there's no playing around. There's no beating around the bush. It's just tactics. And this is the tactics that we have, regardless of who we are facing off. We made the homework, we made the study, and we're going to put that in play. And that is what Coach Olea has to offer in here. And it's a good plan, really. It's showing that West Point Mamba Lowkings, they have a dream, they have a goal to be the top, and whatever they're getting, I guess it's not enough. So we'll have to see what else will be offered right here, because with Ace right now playing on raid, and it is Hardpoint, it's not looking good. Like not so much on a win rate for this map, even for this mode for Team Ace.
I don't even need to look at the maps that are picked in here. All I know is Ace has got a lot to prove out there on the battlefield, regardless of game mode, regardless of map. Because if you want to base, all of the predictions based on statistics, that prediction is going to be a 3-0 to the favor of West Point Mamba Lowkings, which is why we don't want to go in with that sort of a storyline here. We just want to see what sort of a surprise, what ace under the sleeve they have hidden away and are about to show us out there.
I love that because at some point, I mean, it's most of the surprises that really brings on the energy and the excitement in this game. Like so much more the surprise that we had yesterday, another surprise might be offered right here. But in a few moments, we're going to see and find out on how this game of West Point Mamba Lowkings and Team Ace is going to unfold, and as well, 3 maps to cover. We have raid, we have standoff, even take off in there from the control side. But on Hardpoint, it's more of if we go into the technicalities, we have a time like P1 to the P2 rotation. Top laundry has been one of the priorities, and from what we've seen earlier when this was played, that was not taken by NJU. So hopefully that will be a focus of Team Ace right now, because that might give him a little bit of advantage in terms of positioning as well as the frags and flipping the spawns to their favor so they can get onto that hill early into this game, because once they rotate into P2, they have a better chance in there of moving toward Garden and getting to Kitchen. But with how West Point Mamba Lowkings has already played this and planned this, I mean, it's more of better tactics to cut the approach of West Point Mamba Lowkings for the case of Ace.
Yeah, the biggest problem here for me is regardless of whatever sort of ace they have hidden up their sleeves, they have to go up against the mechanical capabilities of West Point Mamba Lowkings, which is nothing short of crazy, right? This team knows how to engage. This team knows how to slay. And like I said, the biggest... I have to stop using this, but the biggest ace on the side of Team Ace used to be Zen. Now, losing Zen is one of the biggest losses for this team. And Zen, you saw exactly how he was performing on the side of Huntsman. He had no problems whatsoever fitting in into the team, and he fit like a glove, right? He fills out any position, he fills out any role that you can give him out there on the battlefield, and he executes all of his duties to perfection. And he used to be that absolute supreme dominator on the side of Ace, or as they used to be known as Envy Doctors in the past. And now without him on their side, he was potentially one of the only guys who could have maybe taken up a solid fight against the rest of the players. Not saying that the rest of the team members on the side of Ace cannot do anything, right? You do have Pika there. Pika has shown us a lot of promise in the past. MIB, a little bit here and there, the days of Rampage from all. We haven't really seen a lot of opportunities for them, but we seem to have a little bit of an update here. West Point Mamba Lowkings will win 3-0 as Ace is unavailable to play the second match. So this is a default. Okay, I mean, I already predicted it. Thank you very much. I'll take the credits for this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a straight 3-0 even without starting the match. And, well, it's just unfortunate because it's a chance for us to really see what Ace has to offer against West Point Mamba Lowkings.
Yeah.
But because of unavailability as well as technicality, and pretty much the same story happened on the previous series that we have. Search and Destroy, technicality really brought the win for WDC, even if they have the great chance to take that win. So, well, that is shorter time for us, AJ, in this match, and I think it's chance for us to get WDC Freeslot back in here, and we are getting to the exciting part of this day, AJ.
The problem here is Ace as well as NGU, they are out of their depths, right? I mean, as much as I love the teams out there, as much as I want to give them all a fair shot on the battlefield, and you want to call it as it is, this is me calling it as it is. All of the other teams inside of Group B, they are mental. They are insane. They are on another level of psycho when it comes to Call of Duty Mobile. All in their head, what they think eat, dream is Call of Duty Mobile each and every single day. And they're supreme teams. This is the group of death, and Ace as well as NGU are stuck in this nightmare as they are put into this group of death. I do not blame Ace for not making it up to this match. West Point Mamba Lowkings, most probably would have been able to pretty much sweep them. But this puts Ace in a very advantageous position because, yes, they take a default loss, but they technically didn't get defeated outright. So, there's no crushing of confidence. And later on, when you look at match 4, Ace will take on NGU. So NGU has been crushed by WDC already. And you have now Ace, who technically is stepping into the very first series of stage 4. And they're going to be hyped. Okay, this is our intro into stage 4. So I like the strategy out of Ace here. Taking a loss without going into battle, but they are going into match number 4 later on against NGU, and they will have an advantage when it comes to mental health because I'm pretty sure NGU at the moment is crushed.
Yeah, I mean, this is one thing wherein stats will be out the window, will be thrown out. Because like the win of 3-0 doesn't give us that much. It's more of technicality. Though we already have past experiences, past performances, but it doesn't play off this time because it's no game from Team Ace right now. And NGU might be caught off guard, though they might have been in a fair battlefield. But since they didn't see the gameplay of Team Ace, I would agree with you that is a good momentum from Team Ace when they jump in the second time around.
Yeah, and I'm so excited for series number 3 and series number 5 of the day because we are talking about Smart Omega being a huge potential to represent Garena this time round at stage 5 after they not only annihilated Blacklist International Ultimate, but they did that back-to-back in 2 majors, Garena Master Season 2 and Garena Master Season 3. And Smart Omega now takes on the best in Thailand as well as the best in Indonesia. Today is going to be one crazy day that I'm so excited for, and we are pretty sure it will be as exciting, when we hop on into the NGU versus Ace matchup as well. Because although NGU, hands down got annihilated by WDC, they could barely get a kill on the control match. Ace would have probably struggled like the exact same way against West Point Mamba Lowkings. But when you match up Ace against NGU, it's a more fair playing field out there. It's a more even playing field that they all get to perhaps pick kills off. It's a more easier way or a fairer way for us to kind of see exactly who's the better team. You match them up against any one of the other teams inside of this group, I'm sorry, bro, but they are going to get eaten alive.
Yeah, I mean, there's something that we are talking about in the background. How can you put a hype when you know the end of the story from how it started already? And that might be the case on that series number 2 if the battle really goes on. And it's a good point as well. NGU going against Ace right now with how fair it will be. It will not be that dominating compared from seen from some of the teams out here, but this time at least it's fair for them and it brings that excitement of who will win and who will lose. That is where we like to bring this team up. But AJ, I mean, it's a quick series number 2 right here, and same quicker than
the fastest series
number 1.
The fastest series that we've had in the competition. But here's the thing, right? We were talking about what's their ace up their sleeves. Their ace up their sleeves was to just forfeit the match against West Point Mamba Lowkings and lead a pretty good mental state before they charge against the players of NGU later on in series number 4. So I'm excited to witness that. But for the time being, we're going to take a quick short break as we're trying to get the players of WDC Freeslot to prepare themselves to face off against Smart Omega. WDC barely had time to rest in here. So that's pretty much an advantage to Smart Omega, but it doesn't really mean a lot because these players, they play Call of Duty Mobile day and night, all day, all night. And that matchup against NGU, if anything, was a really good warm-up. We're going to take a quick short break. When we come back, a blockbuster series up for all of you guys to enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Garena Regional Qualifiers. This is the road to the Call of Duty Mobile World Championship 2022, and we now have a blockbuster showdown between two titans. The best of Thailand takes on the very best of the Philippines. WDC Freeslot versus Smart Omega, and for this blockbuster, we have got the one and only Cali Gaming, and I am the Mustachio AJ. We're gonna rock the mic all the way down to the very end, and I don't think we can expect a 3-0 that easily off of this series, Cali.
And finally, the donut curse is going to get broken. And WDC Freeslot and Smart Omega, they go way back. Formerly known as Daivo Freeslot and NRX Jeremiah 2911, 2 years ago, they battled at the grand finals at Garena Regional Qualifiers 2020. So there is history between the two, and today it's about to go down. A playoff worthy match ahead of us today, and on your screen, that's going to be Guitar. Yeah. C1 Chicken Smith representing WDC Freeslot, the #1 in Thailand.
They are ready to rock, I'm very sure. Smart Omega, I don't know if or not they were scrimming before jumping into this matchup, but WDC sure as heck jumped into a short scrim. They just wanted to warm up those fingers, and they are ready to go.
They have a hot hand in here, so I give them that. That's a plus, and that's going to be an advantage for them going up against Smart Omega, who's just about to start their day in here. And speaking of the devil, Smart Omega, here they are. Idra, Rage, Risky, Candy, Whoopi, and this is the 2020 Garena World Championship representative, the back-to-back champions of Garena Master Season 2 and 3, and Smart Omega in its best form yet, AJ. Not to mention, they have coached Jericho and Device teaming up to transcend this team to its full potential.
Yeah, I realized you didn't really mention JC there. The guy probably isn't going to be playing. He is the one and only backup. And it's a little bit of a surprise to see Captain JC of all as the backup player for this roster. But when you've got Whoopi on their side, there's really nothing to worry about at all. This is the champion, the back-to-back champion for Garena Masters out of the MSP. And, there's just really nothing much more we can say compared to whatever we've already said for this team. I just am so delighted to see this battle happen so early on in the competition. I really want to see what they can do against the Thai Giants.
And you see in front of your screen, that's Jericho right there, formerly a caster for Garena Call of Duty Mobile. Now, it's up to him to actually dictate where this team might play, and hopefully, that they win the coin flip in here, because going up against a team like WDC Freeslot, who excels so much in respawns, as much as you want it to be, you would want to get that coin flip for you to be able to play at your strongest mapping, because you already know when WDC Freeslot will be able to go up against Smart Omega with their own map picks, it's going to be a bloodbath, AJ.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Glad to see Jericho on the screen with us again. Usually he's right beside us. This time around, he's right in front of us. He is in the scrimming room of the boys of Smart Omega. And this is the spot where everything goes down. But will the team themselves go down, or will they rise up to take their slot at the stage 5 against WDC Freeslot themselves? No pun intended. Once again, this is a clash between two titans. There's no David versus Goliath story here. There's a Goliath versus Goliath story here. There's just no way of telling how this is gonna go. But if you were to look at some of the data, it might be able to point us in the right direction. But first off, the bans. Sparrow and Purifier taken out by WDC as well as Smart Omega. Smart Omega bans out Slumps, whereas WDC Freeslot takes firing range out of the equation, Gally.
And this is going to be a very interesting map pick in here for Omega. First and foremost, they will be using Raid Hardpoint, one of the things that they really excel at the most at Garena Masters Season 3. And I love this take from them, because you take away this Raid Hardpoint, you also take away the control raid that WDC Freeslot can offer against you. So with that being said, this is actually very smart for them as we load up and dial in the game. Things are about to go down here at group stage day number 2. A king versus a king. WDC Freeslot and Smart Omega. Hardpoint raid. Here we go, AJ.
But I tell you, I am a little bit confused as to why did the players of WDC Freeslot ban out that firing range. It doesn't seem like they had too big of a problem dealing with that map in the past. I mean, SNDs, they've played it, but we don't really have a lot of information based on how they play respawns at firing range. So I guess that is one of the weaknesses that can be exploited by teams a little bit later on. But from the very get-go here, first Hardpoint dominated by WDC Freeslot just until Smart Omega appeared at that laundry side, managing to snuff out a couple of players. And on the other side, you can see the players of WDC spawning a little bit too far away. 28 seconds, still a lot to contest for, but the players of WDC are falling one after the other. Nobody was able to get anywhere close to that hard point. 18 seconds to go. They send 2 players in, whereas 3 others go in for that early rotation. But guess who they meet halfway through the line? Smart Omega doing 2 things at the very same time, and the one thing they do very good is slaying out the boys out of Thailand.
Yeah, great hard point set up here at P1. They are chaining it here at P2 as well. Another money hill that could be guaranteed in here for Smart Omega, and Candy will be the first one inside. Wins one huge gunfight in, but Chick now going for the trade, but the pinch play about to come through in here with Rage around the back, and unfortunately for him, gonna get shut down in here. And what the way to get that initial setup here for Freeslot, you know, just constantly sending over player at a time over and over again, and eventually they overwhelm Smart Omega to speed 2. So now they're holding off the point. 28 to 44, cut down to that 24-point lead, now down to 14 points, and this is going to be a great play for them now, AJ.
Yeah, it was a very solid play in terms of strategy for WDC Freeslot, securing the spawn out of basketball court, and that just gives you a free access from garden as well as that safe room into kitchen. So this one was very well planned out and executed by the Thai players. Smart Omega, on the other hand, super early rotation. I'm not a very big fan of that because I believe you can fight a little bit more, but with the way WDC had that control over at P2, Smart Omega, they want to bet on the money hill here. They double back down into P3 super early, so it's all going to depend on these next few gunfights. Can they win it out? Can they pick out all 60 from this particular side? Because if they can, WDC Freeslot is going to be in a world of pain. They do have the lead for the time being, but Smart Omega looking to change that within the next few seconds.
Yeah, potential money grab here for Smart Omega right now. They are funneling WDC Freeslot into only one angle. That would be at the gym section, and Candy doing a great job winning this gunfight in here. Spots one more player at the gym shots, but unfortunately will get shot down. But the thing here is, right now for Omega, will be able to get that lead at the moment with them actually being able to contribute more as a team and not individually. And this is the team that we saw from Garena Master Season 3 that really take down Blacklist International Ultimate. This team play right here is the reason why they were able to be the crowned as the champions of the MSP. But for now, they've been solid, you know. They gave up that final 15 seconds at P2, but when they're guaranteed to have a great setup and a money hill involved, they're gladly gonna take it here, AJ. Look at the lead right now, 66 to 83. And not only that, they're already in the next hardpoint rotation at the basketball court.
Yep, smart play coming through from WDC Freeslot. Smart Omega hopping off of the hill at the very last second, managing to secure the final slay. And now WDC Freeslot with 3 more seconds to go. Hunter Killer Drone manages to secure the swimming pool side, whereas 2 players on the side of Smart Omega hop on into the hill. One Freddy gets 1 player out of the equation. They want to secure the spawns out of garden as well. For the time being, Smart Omega being forced to spawn out from open stairs. That's just a little bit too far away. But Whoopi, he goes in for the investment of the Annihilator. This is a great play because the rest of his players were just a little bit too far, and Whoopi fully streaked up already. Can just be the Annihilator himself, and I'm not talking about the operator out there on the battlefield.
Yeah, great score streak effectivity, and of course that's a specialist that Whoopi invested, you know, that really bought some time for his team to reinforce inside the point. And now they're using those score streak, the Predator missile, to just basically take away more players from Freeslot as we continue to see this team actually struggle with the way Omega has been handling down this chain of rotation that we currently have. And final 10 seconds, scrap time about to get involved. And one thing more than likely is we go to P5, you would want to have that statue control. And guess what? Freeslot is going to be there. Guitar will be that first player. But you obviously know Omega will be finding those players to hunt that player down. And there they go. The battle for P5 continues in here as the hard point opens up. Initially, it's going to be Smart Omega inside the point, but the game still very much close. Score streaks and operator is going to be very useful in here. And you do see Rage actually use that in, try to create a difference in the game, and they take the first 10 seconds.
Yeah, so far, when it comes to spawn control, I have to give it to WDC Freeslot. But Smart Omega winning this by brute force, fighting their way through, winning out a majority of those gunfights, and they are able to secure the majority of the points from this P5. And back and forth, they just bash their heads in, not allowing the Thai players to step their foot into that P5, not for a single second. Yes, there was a challenge, but they're not managing to pull away this site from them at all. Final survivor goes down. WDC Freeslot unlocks that hard point, but the damage has been done at P5 already. Now Smart Omega can go in for those rotations and focus on controlling that laundry side. And as you can see, 2 players pushing up already. Idra needs to win a big gunfight, but he does not do that. Taken down by C1. That's a bigger win coming through from WDC Freeslot. They string those wins through. Early rotation. Once again, the winning factor for WDC Freeslot is going to be the spawn control.
And now right now for Omega, you see they're pushing up here the laundry side. They're able to take down the power position controller. So with that being said, this split spawn situation could guarantee them some skills, but the Kodem RNG is going to spawn them right beside this laundry. So this is going to be beneficial for them, but they got to convert the shot. C1 being a nuisance, but finally gets shot down, and Smart Omega in just a matter of time, they're able to create that break. But WDC, they will not refuse here without losing and backing down. So they're going to allocate the resources inside the point as well. And it's just a battle in here at this final 20 seconds. But what you obviously want to have here is that chain of rotation. If you are Freeslot right now, you are in perfect position to rotate already. And of course, get that setup early, enabled at that kitchen where it's going to be a money hill. One-sided hill right now, and Omega is on the prowl. Either will be there to shut them down. And what a way for them to actually attack here at P2.
XS1 versus XS1 about to break down at Garden. And yes, they go up against each other, but Whoopi wins that, but only to be annihilated by Yeah from the back. Candy goes in for a very big investment of the Annihilator as well, only to be shut down by Cheek and his own Annihilator. This is just 2 teams, 2 Goliaths going up against each other. And I don't mean those score streaks, I mean them as teams as well. The strategy is so sound on both sides, and WDC Freeslot just a couple of seconds away from taking over this match, taking over that lead as well. And once again, I have to stress, you drop into Hardpoint, you gotta focus on the spawn control. Smart Omega is playing all of this a little bit sensitively, if you ask me. WDC Freeslot might be able to punish them for that gameplay.
Adaptability is going to be the name of the game in here for both Freeslot and Omega. Right now, they just one-upping one another, and this final bit of contest here at this kitchen is going to be very important for you to take that lead. And with that being said, Freeslot is going to claim that scrap time. And the important thing here is you get this garage control where you obviously have WDC inside the point already. C1 and number 5 in guitar, just making sure they team up and get the skills. And they've been so successful so far as they like to try to defend this and buy the team some time to reinforce. They will do so fail, but they are able to make sure that they're scrappy enough for them to have a 50-50 battle on of the rotation. And now the hard point is contested as we go see and look at the line through the fire and flames. And Risky will be here to create the plays. Well, so far so good for Smart Omega. This has been their baby, this P3 right here.
Yeah, mistake by Anawan bringing in the Annihilator in such an open space, gets instantly punished by the one and only Rage with his own Annihilator. Both teams have got the exact same mindset, and their strategy going into this matchup seems so close to each other. But WDC Freeslot just does not have a good control on this money hill as we rotate into P3. It's just all the way Smart Omega on that first rotation and the second rotation as well. 19 more seconds to go, and if I was WDC, I'll rotate away and stop allowing the players from the Philippines to continuously streak up through all of my mistakes. And that's exactly what the Thai players do. They're heading on here for basketball court, and if things go their way again, that spawn control is going to be the winning factor. Predator missile hanging up in the air. Swimming pool not secured. Freddy misses by a mile.
That's going to be very heavy for whoever invested that. So with that being said, another Hunter and a Predator missile will be sent out in here, and score streaks galore are going to happen inside the game, finding good value off of that. And now Omega on the break. They're looking to get attack in multiple angles. One player coming through the Dicky, but the spawns are going to be very hard. Risky now drops in the nade, and that's it. The Predator missile will not find anything just yet. And Freeslot continues to claim all the time in the hill, but finally Risky will be able to make it in time. He wins one huge gunfight, moving inside, pushing up, but still gets shot down. WDC locking things down.
Yeah, this time WDC Freeslot loses the favorable spawns to the side of Smart Omega. But when that happens, this is just a massive amount of investment into those score streaks. And it looks like Smart Omega has lost this match already. A few more seconds. Can they make that adjustment? 10 more seconds to go at this hard point. You need to scramble for P5. Earlier on, Smart Omega did fantastic. But this time, look at WDC overextending into its gallery. That might just be the winning factor for the players of WDC. This is that surprise factor that they bring into the shot, and they do manage to secure the spot at P5 before we even kick things off. Smart Omega, they lose their lives. Gravity Vortex this time round. Hydra goes in for a good investment. Sucks up C1 as well as Guitar taken down by Candy. Smart Omega showing signs of life once again. This is a huge fight out there, just like we anticipated. But WDC Freeslot with 8 more seconds, make that 5. Can they pull this victory? It looks like it's all done and dusted already. 30 more seconds to secure, but Smart Omega should have controlled those spawns from the very get-go.
They lost their composure, especially when moving up to that basketball court. They just can't seem to find out where they would like to get the angle and take the players down. And so far, a flak jacket for Freeslot when it comes to playing inside that game. They wear a hard hat moving into the final late stage, the final stage of the game, where they obviously just lock down every spawn. They win their gunfights, and the timing with the operator skills and the predator missiles keeps blinding through them, and it basically cuts off the rotation of Smart Omega when they try to route inside the hill. And well, what a well out thought out plan there for WDC Freeslot as they take away a map pick by Smart Omega. So that's going to be one key takeaway in here, because now that they're up by 1-0, they move into that search and destroy later on with their map pick. But looking at the post-game breakdown, you see the difference maker in here for both ends. For WDC, it's going to be Yaya with 39 and 30. For Candy, he's going to have 34 and 30. Quite the similar stats in for both ends, but the difference here is this core streak and this operator skills, AJ. I mean, the similar scores and kill statistics, but the way they use those operators to just try to make sure they accumulate more time in the hill, that was the difference maker.
I think both teams used their operators as well as score streaks fantastically. There was a couple of misplays with the Predator missiles, but it doesn't really matter. I think they equalized each other very, very well. The biggest difference maker for me is exactly what I've been pointing out since the very start of the match. WDC Freeslot had more map control. Yes, the money hill was ripped away by the players of Smart Omega, but that's all they actually did fantastic in this matchup. They played that P3 to perfection. They moved on into Garage. They controlled it extremely well, and that was what WDC Freeslot realized, right? Okay, all right, these boys are playing that P3 well. This time, the next time we go into that rotation, we are going to go in early, and we're going to make sure we break their gameplay to, of course, ensure they don't run away with that matchup. And when it comes down to Hardpoint, we always talk about, of course, who can pick up the points. But if you don't manage your spawns, you are not going to be on the favorable side to even take that fight. And when the players of WDC Freeslot had the spawns out of Garden and we were playing basketball court as the Hardpoint, you know, that was one of the biggest fight of Smart Omega's life out there on the battlefield, where they did bring out the Annihilator. They did go in for the investment of the score streaks and all, but it just didn't matter because it was just all of those moments where they were fighting for the hill, and the players of WDC constantly fought to keep that spawn. That is the biggest difference between the two.
Yeah, I mean, Smart Omega got to the back foot and never got in front of it, and WDC Freeslot just continues to run away with the lead with the way they're able to manage everything inside of game number 1. So now they go into their element. Summit, Search and Destroy. Actually, both these teams have found success moving into this stage 4. So this could highly be a very close game as well. But once again, as we start this first round, we're going to see WDC Freeslot. And we know, and we did see them earlier, they like to play it fast. But can they do it against Smart Omega, who lovely wants to make their plays here right through Whoopi's sniper? So now, first blood initiated. Chick goes down. We got a 4v5.
Yep, and no sniper on the side of WDC, and Indra with a good backstab manages to get a double. Whoopi drops the 4th player, and now in final 1, Smart Omega picks up an easy round.
Wow, 33 seconds is all it takes for Smart Omega to take those players down, and now you're starting to see WDC Freeslot. You can't just go in there, barge your head, and play aggressively because Omega knows how to lock things down, especially on the defensive side. Notice how Smart Omega Whoopi was there to begin with, lining up the shot right through the second floor at the catwalk. So now, taking in another angle in here, waiting at the window, will not find anything just yet. And now the push comes in. Again, first blood for Smart Omega and Freeslot down low here at the man advantage.
Again, taking out the sniper of WDC Freeslot is going to be a huge blow to the Thai players. Smart Omega looking to make their way back in here and break the curse of the donuts. But obviously, we weren't expecting a donut from the very get-go. And now in good engagement, but a little bit too risky. And the one to shut him down is Risky himself. Rage takes Smith out of the equation. Whoopi with the pre-scope shuts down the final player. The shorty for the pop. And Smart Omega picks up round number 2 as well.
It's all about the first blood conversions here for Smart Omega. Notice how Whoopi took down the first player in that round number 1. And Rage was able to pick down 1 as well, just to make sure things will be harder for Freeslot as the attacker. So if they can continuously do that in here, pressure is going to be up for Freeslot, and they would have to be forced to adjust every time. Again, Risky dropping Smith, another first blood in here. And now look at the way they follow things up. Look at the non-traded deaths that Freeslot can't seem to find an attack into. And went down to the final player, gets 1 kill down here at the catwalks, and Omega destroys the team in just 26 seconds.
Revenge is sweet, says Smart Omega. WDC Freeslot, I mean, spawn control and all, fantastic. But against Smart Omega, who's a extremely proficient team at SND, they seem to struggle. But anything can happen, man. Round after round, all WDC needs to realize is the positions held on by Cheek just way too risky. 3 rounds in a row. Cheek is that first blood. All thanks to Whoopi. And this boy has woken up. But quick scope, can he get an hour? The answer is no. As Smith gets that God nade onto Whoopi, eliminating the biggest problem out there.
And now Anna win huge gunfight here, following up, dropping Candy. So now they are able to push out 3 players in there, but the flank comes through for Rage, and we've seen this game from him on that Garena finals against Blacklist, but now we are seeing it. Yeah, huge kill there, dropping a double. 2v1 all down to Idra. They can get the bomb plant in here, AJ, but the smoke's going to come through here. Idra's going to play it very, very slow. B side not gonna be cleared at the moment, but notice how WDC is just trying to use the A side here. But Idra's got the PK. He's waiting the players out. He picks 1 player to flank, so now we got a 1v1. So he's yeah, we'll drop it down. Freeslot took them 4 rounds, but they win it anyway.
I mean, good spot, good call by Indra. He knows exactly where to spot out those players, and he knew that rotation was coming in as he saw the player run out through that back door of control room. Where else? Because that information had already been sent over, but just the response time a little bit too slow. That KSP wins over the Peacekeeper. Whoopi shuts down an hour this time around. Can he get that back-to-back? No, yes he can. Smith taken out of the equation as well. Quickscope does not hit. Shorty, on the other hand, gets pulled out. Whoopi wants to get aggressive, but finds no players on the other side. Cheek drops Rage, and this is just an absolute GG. It's a 3v1. Guitar with the KSP has nothing else to do except get annihilated. But can he get that God clutch now as the attacking side? He needs to pick up that bomb first, which is just in the hands of Smart Omega.
Yeah, the situation did not get tougher than this. 1v3 spots the first player. Idra shuts him down. And talk about how Smart Omega had 5 first bloods already into this matchup, and they have finally been able to convert 4 of those rounds. So right now they've been steamrolling into this matchup, but we need to see some change of pace here for WDC Freeslot. Playing fast is not going to get you somewhere. I mean, we did see them play it fast for the past 5 rounds already. They can't seem to find any sort of engagements. And again, Rage dropping guitar. Things are just going downhill for Freeslot right now. They need to find a way to turn it around. Whoopi on the long range with that shorty. I mean, Freeslot gets dominated every round, and the clock takes a little bit faster in here. Omega 5-1.
I mean, that was illegal, Whoopi. You cannot long shot with the shorty. That in itself is like, yeah, you can't do that, brother. You can't do that. My son is just going a little mental out there on the battlefield. I think this is just him really trying to prove himself after being the lowest fragger in that hardpoint matchup. You usually don't see that sort of a quality from Whoopi. He usually stands at the very top, fighting for that MVP spot. But I guess, first match jitters for Smart Omega. Ooh, Whoopi almost struck, but this time Guitar manages to catch him off guard, and it was Cheek that kind of just placed the pressure on him initially.
Well, for me, honestly, for Whoopi, if Heaven's got that bed buff, I mean, Whoopi's got that AJ buff, you're the dad, and I mean, every time you shout cast, everything just go a little bit better. But hey, look at this play right now for Freeslot. Chick almost got taken down there, needs to back away, has to play with his life, and good for him that he actually stays alive. Now we got a 4v3 here.
Oh, so unlucky, Cheek, with the timing. He almost took Kendi out of the equation, but just turned around a little too late. Yeah. Trades out Kendi. And now Risky has a good opportunity here. And now in just recovering some of his HP. Good slide. And he goes for the prone as well. Just shows his face just a little bit risky. Just depending on the backup by Rage. And this teamwork's just way too good. 6-1 Smart Omega on match point.
Yeah, they just know how to play for trades. And you already know Smart Omega. The story at the game is just how good have they been when it comes to converting the first bloods inside this matchup. Not to mention that they always clean out Freeslot in about 30 seconds. So this is how fast this team operates when things are going to be made for Freeslot, and they always make those mistakes, and you're guaranteed to have those first blood. Once again, Rage gets those first 2 initial kills. But the good thing, Anwin will be able to trade 1, but they have to get 1 more to equalize the numbers inside the matchup. We got a 4v3 here.
4v3, make that 4v2, make that 4v1. Smart Omega, nasty. Cheek, final survivor, but has only a sniper to play around with, buddy. You better pick up the KSP. No, forget about that. Indra says, get the heck out of here and bring in that control matchup. We want to take over the series, but I'm very sure at those respawns, we will see WDC step right back up.
Yeah, so both teams just doing each other a favor. You know, Smart Omega pick Hardpoint Raid, then it was Freeslot that was able to get that map. And here this time, a map picked by Freeslot, and it's Smart Omega who totally dominated this map. And you know, the contrast, you know, the first game is so close. But here this time around, it's kind of a very dominated one, and it actually favors Smart Omega. So now we are on Series 1-1, and the control game mode coming up next is going to be the most important part here, because as much as possible, you would want to have the series win to enable yourself to place on that upper boards in the leaderboard. So with that being said, the match number 3 is going to be that game changer for both ends. But just talk about how Smart Omega's been so good in this search and destroys, and they continue to rally up the pace that they had ever since Garena Master Season 3.
I'm so curious as to the double coach setup, not the double snipe setup yet, the double coach setup here for Smart Omega. You know, there is a saying, too many hands spoil the soup, too many cooks, you know, they just absolutely ruin the dish. But it seems to be working out well here in the SND. Not so much when we headed into Hardpoint earlier on. It wasn't a close match if you look at the strategies, because it was only WDC Freeslot bringing in all of those instant adjustments, especially when it came to that spawn control and timing of those rotations. And the boys were absolutely perfect. But at SND, WDC Freeslot had no time to respond at all.
Yeah, I mean, Freeslot just continues to drop their body every time they enter a round in the first 10 seconds. Especially, it's either going to be Risky, Rage, or Rupee that takes them down. And now on your screen, your MVP for Search and Destroy is going to be Rage with 10 kills. This guy always gets sent out by the team to initiate the flanks, and most of the time is able to guarantee a kill or 2. And he's the main reason why this team actually had more easier time inside the game, as he was able to be successful going at the back and securing all of the kills for Smart Omega. And with that being said, they will be able to take home this map number 2 in a very dominant manner. But here is the interesting thing as we move into this stand of control, with both these teams actually taking one ahead of each other. We move into this match number 3, where it's going to be kind of very equal for both ends. Smart Omega and Freeslot having the similar statistics moving into this stage 4. So stand of control is the map. I really love this take. I think Freeslot is going to be able to find a way to actually have an advantage in this, because they know how to play it fast and standoff.
Yeah, I do agree with you, right? They do know how to play it fast. But the difference here is there's no spawn control involved anymore. It's all going to be about those engagements, those gunfights, who's more proficient at executing some of those flanking plays. And both teams are actually quite proficient at this. Holding down the sides, playing defensively is what control is all about. And both of these teams have got a superior performance when it comes to playing on that defense. But who has got the advantage here? It has to be Smart Omega, it has to be WDC Freeslot who start things off on the defensive side. So 2 rounds to their advantage, unless Smart Omega can force the issue here and pull away one of those flags. And it seems to be at the very start a heated matchup between the two.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the defensive setup right now for WDC Freeslot, they're kind of on board with the divide and conquer setup in here, where they actually sent out one player to increase the spawns and attack it. So Guitar will be sent out and a win at the back. So slowly and surely,
Wonderful.
with Freeslot winning all of the gunfights in at the back, they are slowly getting that spawn shop enabled. But it's a good thing that Omega was able to defuse the situation, but it cost them some lives in here, AJ.
Yeah, it most definitely cost them some lives, right? But all equal now. But the biggest problem here is Smart Omega hasn't made a move to rip away either one of those control points just yet. That A and B flag standing up strong. WDC Freeslot, 20 lives. That's a 4-life deficit for the side of Smart Omega. And things seem to just be so equal on the side of WDC. This is a defensive map. And later on, I have no doubt that the players of Smart Omega will be able to rip one back because they play defense extremely well as well. But once again, the advantage to WDC because they start off on the defense.
And not only that, they have to only defend for about 19 seconds in here at this round number 1 for them to be able to claim the lives. So it's a win-win situation here for them, but they got to make sure that they play consistent there. Guitar, in a meta where the KSPs and the Peacekeepers actually dominates, that shotgun continues to be one of the bane so far for every team that they have faced in this matchup so far. But now, you're starting to see Omega making their move here. It's going to be that B control point that they're going to worry about first. So if they do get this in here and they win the gunfights, they would be able to extend the time, but not when Freeslot shuts them down.
Yeah, fantastic play by WDC Freeslot, saving themselves in those very final moments. And that was a big fight coming through from Anawin, as long as he can hold on to the site now. But no, Smart Omega once again pauses the clock. 5 seconds to go. Guitar on for the slide, but he gets annihilated. Rage from the back. Risky taken out of the equation. 5 more seconds. The clock is paused, but it'll take a lot from Smart Omega to steal away this A flag. 5-3 lives. Rage still staying alive for the sake of Smart Omega. This is just big fights coming through, and Smart Omega loses just because the team of WDC Freeslot turned it into a team deathmatch. Smart Omega a little too slow on the attack, but I'm pretty much sure WDC is going to struggle on the attacking side too.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, in a game mode that's basically defensive-oriented, you're just guaranteed to have even more power positions as a defensive side, and Smart Omega here this time around is going to wrap around and attack that control at the tractor. So with that being said, it's going to be very useful for them to initiate the spawn shop easily, and this is the play. Risky making a lot of big plays in the Master Season 3 with this type of angle. Right now, his team is currently taking down players at the middle of the map, so that should spot him here right beside this Vance. And Risky now operating with the specialist spots. One more at the tanks. Almost takes him down. The second will be connecting, and there it is. Look at the spawn difference. Right now, Risky being the game changer.
Yep, spawn trap by Risky, managing to hit the 4 kills back-to-back already earlier on, and the Annihilator used to perfection, still going to town with the players of WDC Freeslot. Repositions, continues punishing them, finally taken out by Guitar, but the damage has been done. WDC Freeslot, we expected them to struggle, and struggle they do. Rage from up top on that second floor of Hotel manages to find that kill, but a God nade out of takes him out of the equation. That A hill still not snatched away just yet. C1 can go in for the investment on that hunter-killer drone. Guitar steps on forth as well. Finally, the move to pull away this B control point starts off for the players of WDC Freeslot, and that A control point as well. Both at the very same time, pausing that clock. So WDC has a stronger chance in comparison to what Smart Omega was doing earlier on. But this is pretty much similar. If they can pull away one of these hills though, it will show us who's slightly better at control.
Yeah, great recovery made by WDC. Remember, they were sponsored and Chick gets that huge 2 kills. And I mean, talking about the specialist effectivity, Chick able to put it to good use. Smart Omega down to their final 5 players, and not to mention Chick also have those score streaks fully earned. Same thing for Guitar, and now Rage. They will get taken down, and WDC Freeslot, they take 1 defensive round, they take 1 at the attacking side. And if you're Smart Omega, this defensive side could have been yours, but you kind of let go at the mid game where they kind of have a fallout. So now 2-0 match point for Freeslot. Omega now tasked to come in for a comeback, but I doubt it's going to be that easy because Freeslot, they know what to do here as the defensive side.
Yeah, I wouldn't peg that as a mistake on the side of Smart Omega. WDC Freeslot just played that to perfection, and the play of that Annihilator was just way too good. And now in once again stepping up for the team. But this time around, 26-27, just a 1 life deficit. It's not a problem at all for WDC Freeslot because they are on the defense. All they need to do is just hold off the attacking side of Smart Omega just as perfectly as they did earlier on. Rage on the other hand with the KRM popping off left, right, center will be able to a certain degree punish the players. But Guitar manages to secure the slay on him with the Hunter Killer drone. Risky on the other hand making a good lead for that B flag this time around. And the B control point is defended well by WDC Freeslot, clearing off those markers as we speak. A 1 life deficit for Smart Omega and just a little bit of a marker placed onto that B control point. WDC is just running circles around them. This might just be a 2-1 before Smart Omega can do anything about it.
And right now, look at this. You know that Operator's kills are going to be deadly here. 2 invested initially in, and that should be able to separate them against Omega as they go through and run them over. Right now, Guitar got that score streak and actually earned up as well. The Predator missile could be able to put into use and get more kills. But that XS1 Goliath going to be very valuable in case things go south here. But looking at the pace of the game, with the way that the game has been traded over and over again, it's been WDC Freeslot, and they now have the chance to end it here at this game.
Absolutely, sir. 13-3. Smart Omega has not managed to control this match at all. WDC Freeslot had perfect control of spawns and they have perfect dominance at control. 10-2. Make that 9-2, but it matters not to the Thai players because a single life is what Smart Omega is left with, and Guitar sees it to himself to fine-tune that music out there. A 2-1 defeat is what Smart Omega faces in the hands of the Thai Giants.
And you already have to recommend how well WDC Freeslot had the adaptability to work in them. You know, they were trailing it at round number 2 by a lot, and good thing that the resilience was also there to back them up. They know how to play it fast, but when things go south for them, they also know how to play it slow and play for trades. And that's the perfect opportunity for Freeslot to actually play and, of course, exploit the way Smart Omega was playing on the defensive side. They were playing quite individually. So one thing that Freeslot do encountered was actually play for those trades and obviously have a body system. So with that being said, that's going to be a huge blow in here at Smart Omega's side. You know, they picked 2 Respawn's gameplay in here, but unfortunately, they weren't really able to get one of their own. And with that being said, Freeslot will be able to win control. Same thing for Hardpoint. They win this 2-1.
And WDC didn't even need to invest that XS1 Goliath in this control matchup. I mean, they had that on standby. In fact, I believe they also had that Pretty on standby, which they were saving for a rainy day just in case Smart Omega takes one round away from them. And that's just showing you the kind of quality that Smart Omega is going up against in this control matchup, where you've got score streaks not even used. But this was a fantastic play by Risky, I have to say. But how the players of WDC Freeslot kind of equalized against them, even though they were taking all of those slays, was fantastic. Because when Risky had overextended, all the rest of the players of WDC Freeslot, all they focused on was focusing on taking away the control points. Yes, you're going to spawn trappers, but we're going to take away those control points either way. And, you know, that was just a 1 MVP moment for Risky. But the true MVP was Guitar. And the tune that he played in this matchup, just so absolutely perfect. It put the boys of Smart Omega to sleep.
Oh, wow. I love that one, AJ. I really love that one. And you obviously know Guitar. He knows when to turn it up. And again, in a meta that consists of a lot of KSPs and a lot of Peacekeepers, he actually did most of the damage with the KRM, mainly on the close range engagements. And with that being said, being that initiator for this control game mode basically sets him apart from his team. And of course, with that being said, it's going to be Freeslot winning this map 1 and this map number 3, with Smart Omega taking this map number 2. So it's a 2-1. And one thing for sure is Smart Omega, as they move into their coming match against Dunya Games, is a suffering loss, but a great bounce back could be handed into them at that one, but it's not going to be that easy.
Yeah, and we initially mentioned that it's not a David versus Goliath, but a Goliath versus Goliath matchup with WDC going up against Smart Omega. And if there's one thing we know for sure now out of this series, when it comes to respawns, WDC Freeslot, an absolute monster to face up against. And all of those SNDs, just like what Jericho says all the time, they win you championships, but clearly not the series because you only have one of those SNDs to count on in here. I'm very sure Jericho will be disappointed it. But in the next series that Smart Omega has to go up in, I guess automatically, because they've taken this L already, they are the David going up against the Goliath named Dunia Games. And I believe Dunia Games has got something even more spicier than Ayam Penyet waiting for them.
Yeah, I mean, although they don't have Glove, they got Gunzi in there to back them up, and the firepower
Yeah.
of Dunya Games continues to surge. And remember, this team actually has Zen and ZZ, so it's going to be an uphill battle from Smart Omega going into this game. And I kind of feel bad for Smart Omega though, AJ, because like first day of their group stage, they have to face the toughest competition where they couldn't even have the chance to warm up.
I mean, it's better to, it's just like when you've got a list of tasks, you do the most difficult ones first, and then you leave the easy ones to the last, bit, right? Because you're going to be able to sort them all out. So I guess if you look at it that way, Smart Omega, is off to a great start. But you guys can be off to a great start as well. The special ops tree iridescent for all of you to claim. This is an unlimited code, so you can claim it as much as you want. No, not as much as you want. Each and every single one of you who punch in that code can claim it for yourselves. But there is a time limit on this code. Make sure you get that claimed before the end of broadcast. But this is not the end of Smart Omega just yet. They do have one final series, but that will be series number 5 that comes up just before we wrap the show up. The next series is going to be an opportunity for both NGU as well as Ace to prove their worth in the competition, Callie.
Yeah, and I mean, this is going to be a very close game or a one-sided match in here. I mean, Ace wasn't really able to play at that match number 2 against WPM Lowkings, so hopefully they're able to check in and, of course, be able to play this match number 4. But then again, NGU, after suffering a rough loss, a huge bounce back, maybe win that coin flip at that match number 4 would be very beneficial for them to win this game. But who knows who's going to win that matchup? But for now, just talking about what just happened in this game, WDC Freeslot ends their group stage day number 2 with 2 wins, dropping the players of NGU and dropping the MSP champs in Smart Omega. So such a quiet feat right now for this team.
Most definitely an amazing feat. Let's see if or not MSP can bounce back through Smart Omega a little bit later on. We're going to take a quick short break. When we come back, it's NGU versus Ace.
This is how I need to prepare. Oh no.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. This is Call of Duty Mobile World Championship Garena Regional Qualifiers day number 2. And we just ended the 3rd series earlier. We're jumping in onto the 4th. But so far from what we've seen, Callie, I mean, there's a lot of disappointed fans and even the teams from the previous series wherein we're expecting the champs of Garena Masters to be able to bring a 2-1 in that game, but unfortunately it has been reversed against them. But as you mentioned, it is a good strive for them as well to bring it back to pace later on the 5th series. But for those of you wondering, and just jump in right now, I'm Neptune the Gemma Garcia. Together with me is Cali Gaming. We'll be casting this series, and then later on, we'll be joined by the Mustachio AJ. But what is your read this time on to this next series that we're going to see of NGU as well as Ace?
Yeah, well, one thing more than likely here for this matchup, it's going to be fairly close. I mean, both these teams had now very rough score in terms of the map win-loss percentage. So NGU struggled against WDC Freeslot, and I mean, looking at the way things are going for Ace, it seems like they weren't really able to show against WPM Lowkings later. So I hope to see them actually play in action in here, because they're the second team of Malaysia. So that really says a lot from what this team can really do inside the matchup pool. And with that being said, this could be a 50-50 for me, a very close one in here.
Yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of surprise factor coming in from Ace right now, because we don't have much of the gameplay because they didn't show up from the earlier match wherein they are intended to play. But NGU this time, for the first series of this day, we've seen how well, not so well they went against WDC Freeslot, and it is expected because even as a Smart Omega got a loss against them, so NGU has really a rough time to catch up in points. But this time, this is where everything will be fair, and the ratio right there, 50-50 chance for both teams, is really, really good. And this is one thing that we are expecting to see, a little bit of fair battle in here, similar from what we've seen earlier from the previous matchup of Kings versus Kings, but this time it is David against David at this point, Cali.
So it's going to be a really equal matchup in here. And with also that being said, looking back at what happened between NGU Esports and WDC Freeslot earlier, this team actually struggled, but let's talk about that later on as we move in right in front of your screen. We have Yelpo, Gary, MIB, AZ, Stefan, and Pika, now known as the A's, formerly have the core players of NV Esports. Shout out to Boss Neens here. But then again, this is going to be a rebranded team, and they absolutely know how to actually play those SMTs. But when it comes to those respawns, this is where actually things get a little bit south for this team. And that we did see from them at Garena Masters Season 3. And although they have new set of players in here, another condition that they have to meet, how well did this team adapt? And what's the team chemistry looking like here, Neptune?
I mean, it's really hard to tell because from what we've seen earlier, those rosters has bring in great hopes, especially if you have pulled in good players, but it's chemistry that needs to be put in to play. And if depending on how long they've been working together with the new roster that they have, chemistry is one thing that it's not easy to get by unless you have one who is really adaptable, and most of the games and adaptability really and adjustment is one thing that they can put in. It might not be that well if like from the start, but if they can communicate better compared to the other teams, then that would be a great advantage for them. This is for Team Ace, and this might be the new Ace, like one of the aces from the sleeves. And as AJ mentioned earlier, they lost Zen, so hopefully that is not a part that is detrimental for this game.
Oh yeah, exactly. And Zen is actually the core player, the powerful player of NV Esports before, now known as Ace. And with him actually moving to Huntsman just to make sure that they are going to have more success at winning, they really not have found success in. So right now at the pace of Ace, just kind of make sure that the team play is going to be 100% in here up against NGU, who kind of dominates them in terms of that map win ratio moving into this stage 4. I mean, looking at the stats, NGU kind of dominates them in a way that's quite large. And I mean, it's going to be very important in here as well that we see our faces, because I mean, props to that Call of Duty Mobile casters of Taiwan, MO and HK. Yeah. But hey, looking at what the game is happening right now, I don't think we have the other team. I haven't seen them yet.
well, it's unfortunate, but it's good enough for Aces, because even like the same thing happened earlier. For those of you right now are surprised where it's back to our faces right here in the casters, unfortunately NGU will not be showing up. Didn't show up in this game. They are unavailable, and this is a quick 3-0 for the Aces right here, or for Ace, Team Ace, and NGU has taken that double donut for today. So I don't know. Maybe it's something that like the players don't want me to cast because it's so much like the
maybe,
second time around.
maybe they don't want us
but
to
I'm-
cast either. Maybe we're a curse.
The second time around. Like
Yeah.
I'm about to cast and the players are not available. But kidding
No,
aside,
we're-
I mean this is. Yeah, I mean I was lined up earlier. But anyways, that is a quick game in there for series number 4, and I guess it's head over to the exciting part later on. And once again, guys, for those of you who just jumped in right now, because of the delay of setting up the games between Dunya Games Esports as well as Smart Omega, so just wait a little bit, don't go away, because you're the fans out there of both of these teams are like, you should be ready regardless of whether they're playing, because you know they'll be in the scene. You should be ready watching right now and also sharing the stream, because a lot more will be seen from this team, Cali.
Yeah, make sure you guys give follow, like, and share the official social media apps of Garena Call of Duty Mobile at Twitter, at Facebook, at YouTube, and at Twitch. Right now, we are at Garena Regional Qualifier Group Stage Day 2, and let's talk about that match number 5. So just like to make sure that we give a straight narrative in it, since I won't be able to cast the coming game. I mean, I wanted to cast more. I'm just getting into the groove, but then again, we will not really able to find any sort of matches here at this match number 4. But then again, Dunya Games Esports and Smart Omega. Here is the thing. Dunya Games Esports heading on to that match number 5, which we will see later on after this break, is that they don't have Clove anymore. So they replaced him with Gunzi, who actually is going to be a solid pick for them, because like it kind of supplements the team actually when it comes to the play style similar to Clove. So with that being said, Dunya Games is going to have a bit more advantage coming into this game because of how well they dominated that stage 3. I mean, looking at their map win percentage, Dunya Games, just give me 1 second in there. Dunya Games at Hardpoint, or overall, Dunya Games have 36 wins, 2 losses, 38 total matches, having a 94.74 win percentage. Wow. I mean, the amount of games, the amount of effort that this team did, definitely a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the loss that they have is more of the respawns. It's one in Hardpoint and a one in Control, but Search and Destroy, not so much. So this will be a possibility wherein Search and Destroy will be a little bit balanced because of what Smart Omega has offered earlier against WDC Freeslot, but it's not so much because when it comes to numbers, when it comes to the data, though, like this is, as we mentioned, coming from the regionals, it's not so much that they battle each other already like the soonest, because it has been a long time since they went against each other, and a lot of changes as well. Not only the rosters, but also the game plan because of the coaches that has been introduced towards a Smart Omega. So we'll have to see how will this work. But I like that point wherein Dunya Games really has a higher chance in terms of numbers in here for the next battle.
Yeah, I mean, I have to totally agree with you in that one. And one thing more than likely that we are going to see Smart Omega needs to improve on is that response gameplay, because that's been the bane for them ever since the start of stage 3. I mean, they are so good at S&D, just like what Coach Jericho would say, S&D wins you championship, but when you don't have those respawns actually to favor you, at least one of them, it's not going to be very, very handy for you. You're going to get a handful of losses, and that we did see from Smart Omega on stage 3, where they really struggled at winning games against top-tier opponents, highly efficiently Blacklist International Ultimate at Hardpoint for Smart Omega. Although we did see them lost it early against WDC Freeslot at stage 3, they were able to have an 8-6 hardpoint win-loss ratio, 57.14 win percentage. That's not really promising. So again, they really have to play to their map strengths here. Those 8 wins that they had, they have to make sure that they use whatever they have on there that really works to their personality here.
I would agree. I mean, I think what the battle that they had against WDC Freeslot might give them a good chance to study that the tactics that WDC has. So if they can adapt that and then put it into game against Dunya Games, that will be a chance for them to really recover moving forward once they face off WDC Freeslot as well. Adapting the gameplay of your opponent at some point can bring you more insights of their mindset, and as well as how to counter that moving forward. So we'll have to find out, because how quickly they have to transition towards the next match because it's not so much time for them to rest. They just went in for the battle, got in 2-2-1 in there, and they were on the losing end. And this time jumping in again, or in Dunya Games has plenty of rest, and they will be just jumping in onto the last series. But well, there's a lot of talk already, and it will be continuing later on. We will be joined by the Mustachio AJ. So, Kali, thank you very much for joining us right now. But we are going in for a quick break. We'll see you again onto the match number 5.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is the Garena Regional Qualifiers. This is the road to the Call of Duty Mobile World Championship 2022. Earlier on, we saw Goliath versus Goliath, but after Smart Omega got beaten down 2-1, they are now the David versus the Goliath in the name of Dunia Games. I am the Mustachio AJ down here with my man, Neptune, the Gentleman Garcia. We are going to be the voices that leads you guys through the final series of the day.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how well Smart Omega will be able to turn this towards their favor, because what happened earlier is not really so much. WDC Freeslot has put them down on the 2-1, and if that happens once again, though we're not expecting a 3-0, because we know that Smart Omega has a great fighting chance. But with 2-1 once again against Dunia Games, it will not look good on how Smart Omega will be climbing up towards that road to the World Championship.
You know, earlier on, we saw weaknesses from the side of Smart Omega, and, you know, that weakness mostly was on the respawns. But they were absolutely supreme, in fact, superbly dominant on S&D. But guess what? Dunia Games has a 100% win rate at SNDs from their own stage 3, and they are absolutely sublime when it comes to Hardpoint as well, whereas Smart Omega did show us multiple signs of weakness. They've shown us losses on firing range, they've shown us losses on Summit as well as Takeoff and Hacienda. Multiple losses. The only loss we saw out of Dunia Games at a Hardpoint matchup was at Hacienda, and that was only one time. Out of 13 Hardpoint matches, they faltered one time. Out of 12 control matches, Dunia Games faltered one time. But that was the statistics picked up of all of the other Indonesians within their region. Can they now pull off the exact same against Smart Omega? Because if they are able to show that those kind of statistics will matter at stage 4, even against the most dominant team out there within the whole of MSP, then we have a potential 3-0 here, Neptune.
Yeah, I mean, it has been shown earlier that though we started off that the statistics might not be true because they are battling it against different regions, but from the showing of Smart Omega, it's been proven. It is showing this response is not working to their favor, and that is where they are falling off. SND, on the other hand, they're doing well. Especially with the performance against WDC Freeslot. And with that being said, would expect that Dunia Games will not be faltering as well, even if they're challenging or going against Smart Omega this time, because that will be a great advantage for the Dunia Games, just in case they were part of a hit list of Dunia Games wherein they might be great competitor, like a Goliath against them. But from the showing earlier, well, I guess that is crossed off from DG.
I am waiting for that S&D matchup because I want to see if or not we can go for the Call of Duty Mobile world record where we max out that overtime until 20 rounds, right? If we actually do get to that point, I think obviously both of these teams will be absolutely pleased with themselves, but it'll also show the kind of quality that Garena has overall. Or it might just show some signs of weakness where you've got two teams going up loggerheads against each other and neither one being able to find the solution, right? But that's obviously, you know, the kind of dream that's in my head. I want to see it play out as reality out there on the battlefield. A lot of it is going to be depending on the coin toss as well. Who's going to be able to win it? Who's going to be able to dictate at least 2 out of the 3 maps? I hope it will make a difference, Neptune, because once again, based on the statistics that we have been able to collect from stage 3 into stage 4, it's not looking good when it is put side by side. Dunia Games seems a little bit better than Smart Omega, a little bit more proficient in nailing each and every single one of their games. And as a matter of fact, they only faltered twice. And I'm not talking about a series, I'm talking about 2 matches out of all that they've fought so far. Jetsky, Zen, Gonzi, Friend, as well as ZZX steps on to represent the mighty land of Indonesia.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you in that only 2 losses from different modes. This team has shown dominance in paper and also in the gameplay from previous tournaments that we've seen them on. And this is a chance for them to really take out the Garena Masters 3 champions out there, who is a Smart Omega. And even if they take it onto takeoff, wherein that is the most banned for Dunya Games, I don't think Smart Omega will be able to do that much because their performance is even lacking when they jump into the game. And when we're talking about some of the matches in here, especially when we look at Hardpoint or Respawns in general. So one thing about that as well is SND proficiency would be a 50-50 chance really, because you can use that tactic as well on control, but not so much so because respawns comes to play, and it's more of controlling those spawns that is essential. And so much WDC Freeslot has shown Smart Omega that is what is lacking from their gameplay.
And WDC Freeslot has managed to expose some of the weaknesses of Smart Omega. You know, in the past, I used to mention a couple of times through the competitions, you know, some teams hide strats, but this is stage 4. This is the road to the World Championship for 2022 under Call of Duty Mobile. There's no more room to hide strats. Each and every single point matters. The top 3 teams do move on, and this is the group of death. There's no way you can guarantee a spot for yourself if you drop any sorts of matches out there, because you can very quickly be replaced by one of the other Titan teams. I mean, yes, you do have teams like Dunya Games, you do have teams like WDC Freeslot, and you also have a potential WestPoint Mamba Lowkings stealing things away. But maybe, even as I say that, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. What's the worst case scenario for Smart Omega? Because you know they're going to be able to defeat NGU. You know they're going to be able to tap out Ace as well. All they need to do is just find that equalizer against WestPoint Mamba Lowkings and be the third team within this group. And that's actually a huge probability. So is this a fake out by Smart Omega? Is this the greatest fake pulled off by the Filipinos? We will just have to wait and see. Because if they pull a repeat of a defeat against DG, then we know there's no fake in there. They're about to get tapped out. Jay-Z, Idra, Rage, Risky, Candy, as well as Whoopi. This is the lineup that steps up for the side of the Philippines. Smart Omega.
And I like the idea that you mentioned earlier. I mean, but it's mostly on how they will be able to respond on the adjustment of WestPoint Mamba Lowkings later on once they jump in on the competition. Because this group B right now with 4 Titans, I would say, it's a good, like, it's not really a good risk that they can take just in case they will be tapping out in here against Dunya Games. At least put up a little bit of fight, turn it over to their side, balancing it on a 1-2 in favor of Smart Omega. Otherwise, like, it is very difficult to analyze as well on what the plan really is, because if it's only search and destroy, not so much, they will be only getting 33.33 of a chance of wins. And when it comes to the points, like, that is very low right now and might not even reach the top 3 for the playoffs.
Yeah, when you're talking about 33%, all right. When you're going to the 0.33 and you want to depend on that as a little bit of a positive to your side, that's where you start to get worried about your performance in the competition. But you know, I'm not too shaken just yet looking at MSP being represented by Smart Omega as they get their first loss in here, because anything can happen out there against Dunya Games. And this is the team that has proven against all odds that they can reign supreme. But the problem is, they've been reigning supreme as far as it came to MSP. Stepping it out into the world of Garena, on the other hand, the regional qualifier is such a different beast, and this beast has proven to be so difficult to tame so far.
And that's why we have this like qualifiers to weed out those who really deserve to jump in onto that championship circle. Because like at some point, if you jump in there with this performance, that would be a great loss and a huge disappointment as well. So it's a good training point for this. All the days that we have in the group stages, more chances for them to learn their mistake, turn it around towards their favor, and as well as learn their opponent as well, and also read out what might be out there if they manage to go into the playoffs and take that stage on to the World Championship. But there's a long road that they need to take, and we need to focus now. Dunya Games esports right now already prepared, and hopefully this game will be fair for both, and what happened earlier from Smart Omega will be done and trashed already, because it needs to be out of their mind. They need to focus this time.
I hope that this, I mean, it's such a pity that we don't actually have best of fives in the group stages itself, right? I mean, I want to see it go back and forth a little bit, because usually that's the case when it comes to those best of fives. We usually do see it all the way through to that game number 5 in each and every single one of those series, especially when it's so hot and you've got a group of death like this for Group B. West Point Mamba Lowkings look like, and this is purely statistics wise based on whatever data we've collected from stage 3, like the ones who are probably going to be taking that 4th spot, which is going to be quite painful, Neptune, because, you know, this team has put in so much of hard work. But with the destruction that WDC Freeslot has brought upon Smarter Mega and a potential crushing delivered by Dunia Games, that might just down the spirits of Smarter Mega. And when West Point Mamba Lowkings hits on into that matchup, they might just have a little bit of a better mental health to take the W against them. And I might be seeing a total shocker here at the Garena Regional Championship before we head into the World Championship.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see, because so far the dubbed comeback kings, this is their potential to go for the comeback. Not so much from earlier against WDC Freeslot, but as we look into the map modes, it is Dunia Games who banned Sparrow in here at the bottom of the screen, as well as Smart Omega taking down the Purifier. Takeoff will be out as well, and Slum. So this is more likely a good point for the teams to, this is consistent from them to really take this ban, and it is expected of, especially for the maps. But when we jump into the Hardpoint right now and Summit, when we look at the scores, I mean, still stats is in favor of Dunia Games.
Earlier, the losing point for the side of Smarter Mega was the lack of spawn control. And at Summit, the spawn control becomes so much more important. You lose control and the opponents will barrage over you. And it's a very one-sided map, which means if you are getting pummeled from the very start, and if you lose some of your controls in terms of those spawns, and, you know, all of those gunfights don't go your way, you're probably going to see a loss. So that previous series might have just been the best eye-opener for Smarter Mega. We have to see how they kind of deal with that sort of pressure in here against Dunia Games. But firing range SND, I love this. This is a very classic map. You know, you've got your long angles. You will be able to see Whoopi pop off. You will be able to see Dunia Games respond in a timely manner as well for all of those long-range engagements. I'm hoping to see records being made here in terms of how many rounds we might be able to see at the regional qualifiers. And then later on down at Raid Control, Raid is a map where Smarter Mega absolutely loves, but Raid Control, you know, it might not be the best of places for the players of Smarter Mega. And I'm just worried about a spawn trap. But whether or not that spawn trap is going to be possible, Neptune, I think we should be able to gauge from this hardpoint matchup as to who wins a majority of those gunfights on the battlefield.
Yeah, I mean, this is where we see the adjustment of Smart Omega based on what happened from the previous match that they had against WDC Freeslot. And if they were able to adapt as that much, I mean, I think we'll be at ease once we come in onto that control. But like what we've said earlier, they need to focus more of understanding the spawns. Mechanical skills, no question, they can do it. But it's more of understanding flipping the spawns, also putting it towards the favor of, or onto the other side wherein the hills will be in there. And this time, it's not focusing on the money hill anymore. It's more of chaining this game. In Summit, you can chain it pretty much from P1, P2 until P3 on how, because of how close it is together. It's only you might lose that momentum once you jump in onto P4 because of the distance that you need to travel, but spawns can be utilized for that as well. So understanding that, moving quickly, even if you die, you spawn for the other side, P4 can be worked out. So it's that hill chaining that they need to work on as well, not so much on that P3 money hill anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the biggest problems for Smart Omega, right? They heavily invested for all of their efforts into that money hill at Raid earlier on in that first series against the players of WDC Freeslot. And that kind of just helped them take that L at the end of the day, because I didn't see them fight as hard for any of the other hills. Yes, there was a good performance at Basketball Court, but that was only the first time round. The adjustments from WDC Freeslot was phenomenal, because once they knew the plan of Smart Omega, playing their counter strategy was so easy for the Thai players. And unfortunately, Smart Omega, they just could not keep up. And you have to be able to adjust on the fly. And Thailand has already shown that they are slightly better at adjusting on the fly. If Dunia Games, if Indonesia proves to be the exact same out there on the battlefield, we might just see yet another loss for the representatives of MSP. But let's see if or not that is gonna be the case here in Neptune. I mean, both coaches are geared up already. They've given their feedback, and obviously the loss earlier on would be a little upsetting. But let's see how they bounce back from that loss. This time, once again, not a Goliath versus Goliath. Smart Omega has become David now versus Goliath in the name of Dunia Games.
Yeah, this is a chance for them to take that power up and grow to become the Goliath once again. But this time so far, they have been cut down into size and proved to come back really from the comeback kings that we've seen from the old. But so far as we wait, a lot of talks might be happening, AJ, and like a lot of assumptions. It's more of what we like to see in the games that will provide us more of a better picture of this game. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see on how how this will start so far, because both teams are prepared. From the first that we saw Dunia Games, I think they're just preparing as well. So we'll have to find out what is happening in the background, or probably if we are going to start in a few seconds, because the excitement, the thrill is already in here. Kings versus Kings, but David versus Goliath right here. So it's just have to happen for us to have a clear view of what Smart Omega has to offer in this game.
Both teams obviously chilling. They are wondering exactly what is taking so long. We are wondering exactly what's taking so long as well. And we can't wait. We are absolutely excited to watch the clash of titans out there on the battlefield. But one team feels super confident. This is the debut of Dunia Games in the regional qualifiers for Garena. And it looks like that match is about to start momentarily. Can I just say, I love the fact that the Indonesian side takes this competition super seriously. And look at the way they've set this up, right? 4 player camps. All of the players are seated at the exact same location. Communication-wise, not going to be an issue at all. Smart Omega have got a similar setup with that one main camp. You're going to be able to see all of those reactions. We're going to be able to see all of the emotions on the faces of their players as they win or lose out there on the battlefield, Neptune.
Yeah, I think from what Dunia Games is doing right now, they're imagining their position on that bigger stage. Like, how they're lined up in one side? And they were just side to side. It's not really compared to what Smart Omega has, and they have that preview as well from the Garena Masters. But if you put yourself in that position that you're already in the big stage, I mean, it's a huge thing already for Dunia Games, because they're imagining themselves to be in the top. So hopefully that will be the case as well for Smart Omega in their minds, not so much in the position that they are taking right now, but in terms of that communication advantage, well, Smart Omega has a better one, because all your voices will be heard from where you're located. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see on how will that work. And this is why we, this is one thing why it's taking longer. We're seeing a lot more to talk about in here, and not just the games and stats, AJ.
Absolutely, man. But, I do have a few more of those stats to pull out. Based on Stage 3's performance, not including the loss that Smart Omega took against the players of WDC Freeslot earlier on. And the only reason why I'm comparing the stats without including WDC is because we can only compare for Dunia Games and their performance at their own Stage 3, right? So going on that, it's a fair playing ground. Summit on Hardpoint. Both of these teams are pretty good at it, but you see the team of Dunya Games being a little bit more perfect. Albeit they only played Summit Hardpoint one time, they managed to slide off a perfect win there. So that's a 100% win rate for them. Smart Omega played Summit Hardpoint twice. They won one, they lost one. There is a little bit of, weaknesses that Dunya Games would have been able to read off of their gameplay back at stage 3. So that's going to be a little bit of a challenge for Smart Omega. The biggest question is going to be whether or not Dunya Games did their homework properly and identified all of the weaknesses. And the second question is going to be whether or not the players of Smart Omega patched up all of those botchy gameplays when it came to that Hardpoint Summit. Because, I mean, if Dunya Games had done their homework, but Smart Omega had already fixed those errors, then we're going to have one heck of a match out there. If Smart Omega did not fix those errors, Dunya Games might be able to just push them off of that summit, and they might just roll down into a huge snowball.
And about that, I know there's like snowball running around, but AJ, that it's not really a snowball when you throw off a small snowball towards a hill of snow. It will be like a disc of snow. I mean, just a little bit of trivia. I saw that in a video, and I just want to share that because we're talking about snowball. But I would agree with you at that point as well, AJ.
Yeah, man. Okay, let's take a look at SND instead. We go into firing range, and the players of Smart Omega are sitting down on a 50% win rate. They've played firing range twice. They won one, they lost one. But Dunya Games only played firing range S&D one time, and they've got a 100% win rate. They won that match. So once again, weakness on the side of Smart Omega might be exploited. But, Whoopi is still going to be an absolute pain to deal with on that S&D. So I'm just wondering exactly what sort of response, what sort of solution Dunya Games will be able to play against Whoopi. Because, it's one thing to identify weaknesses in play, but it's a whole other thing to identify a Titan on your opponent's side and close him out of the equation early. And that's exactly what the players of Smart Omega did to WDC Freeslot. And that's the main reason why they also pulled that victory at Summit, because Cheek, back to back, got slapped on his cheeks because Whoopi just whipped that sniper out and whipped him right back to the lobby.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good play indeed when we talk about search and destroy right now. And with that statistics of 50-50, a lot of things might have happened. It might have been a very close match out there. Let me take a peek as well on how that ended. It was against Blacklist International Ultimate, if I'm not mistaken, that loss that they have. And I think that was with West Point Lowkings. So I mean, it's very. Oh no, I'm looking at control right now. But when we talk about statistics, 50-50 is a great chance for them to really go in and prove themselves a little bit better. But when we jump into control, I'm looking at that point, and that's why I have that up on my screen right now, is because it is pretty much 100% for both as they jump into qualifiers.
Oh yeah.
The number of games that they have from Dunya Games is a little bit more. And here we go. We have the game right now starting. This is Summit and Smart Omega going against Dunya Games. Battle it on.
The players are ready, we casters are ready, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, are you ready? This is gonna be one heck of a blockbuster matchup, and Smart Omega gonna try to redeem themselves just a little bit. Earlier on, this was played out at firing range. Earlier on, this was played out in a match of S&D. This time, it's Hardpoint, Jet Sky, swooping down like a bird of prey, and will be able to manage to grab a couple of players on the side of Smart Omega. But Whoopi just managing to clear out the area and take control of control room while he continues to slay. In the previous Hardpoint matchup, this guy was the lowest fragger, and this time around, he's popping off from the very get-go.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard push right there from Dunya Games to get into that hill, but it's a good thing that a few members from Smart Omega was able to back off and get better position to take them out of that hill. P1 right now with only 20 seconds, a chance for Dunya Games to get a lot more of a point, but a take back of Smart Omega right now. This proves that they are making the adjustment and understanding of this map as well is going to their favor. 6-30 right now on the scores with only 5 seconds remaining being given given to Dunya Games. They started off preparation for that P2, even in P3, as we see one of the members of Smart Omega.
You look at the fight that is happening all the way at the forklift area. That shows how much of map understanding both of these teams have. Both of them taking that backstep, wanting to secure the favorable spawn at Green Radar Station. But it is Dunya Games that manages to win that hands down. But this break coming through from Whoopi, that's a huge kill. And he continues to string that on to hop straight on to the hard point and challenge the team of Dunya Games for it. Manages to secure yet another slay. 9 kills so far. Whoopi is already on fire. Gonzi pulling out the KRM as well. 2 KRM players on the side of Dunya Games, and it looks like it's absolutely perfect. Only MSP hitting all of those hit marks with the KRM. Dunya Games, the Indonesians, absolutely popping off with the shotgun, Neptune.
Yeah, they pop off, they point to the head and shoot, click, clack, boom. That is what's happening with the KRM at this point. But as we only have 8 seconds, the scrap points will be taken by Smart Omega, and they are taking a huge lead right now. But in terms of position, though they are stepped already into that hill, the rotation of Dunya Games right now is taking them one at a time. And as it activates, it is more of the property of Dunya Games. But with that Freddy, it has given advantage to Smart Omega once again.
I'm keeping count, and I'm keeping count as to how many times Smart Omega manages to control the spawns. This is twice they've managed to be defeated by Dunya Games. Dunya Games once again holding on to the forklift area. Special Forces base will be overcome with the numbers of Dunya Games players, and Smart Omega, they don't care. Even if you have favorable spawns, they're just gonna barge their head in there and win out their gunfights. Whoopi's still on fire. 15 kills in hand so far, and it doesn't look like he wants to slow down. Through the smoke, you've got one player from the side of DG who continues to push on in to torture them off of that spot, but Whoopi says hell no. KSP dominance by this boy. Zeze steps on in there only to get taken down by Rage, but Zen manages to whoop Whoopi out of the hard point. Finally, Dunya Games soaking up some of those scrap points.
Yeah, it took 3 to take out the Raging Whoopi combination out there, but they are now heading into P4. We're in. Smart Omega has already taken the lead as well as control of the spawn point in there towards Gorilla Base. But the rotation of Dunya Games is showing a little bit of push, but they are being taken down one at a time. And it is just an addition, and they are just lining up, AJ.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Look at the players of Smart Omega now. All the angles locked down already. Spawn control this time round 4P4 is absolutely stunning as the Filipinos rock the party. They bring out 2 of those annihilators, annihilating player after player from the Indonesian side. And Dunya Games has no ingress to this hard point at all. 27 more seconds. Rage this time round popping off. He brings out his KRM as well to show that that's exactly what MSP can do. Respawn, toe to toe. They can dance with you. And this match of Tango, this dance-off seems to be finishing up on the side of Smart Omega. Dunya Games being dominated from the get-go here.
No foot being stepped on by Smart Omega in this dance. All they have is swift movement like a butterfly, like a bee. They sting, and this is what we are seeing from the game right now. A good turnaround from Smart Omega as they take foot onto that P1 recycle at this point. But once again, Dunya Games made an effort to clear that out. It's more of the rotation of Smart Omega as they split into 3 as they go in push on both P1 and P2.
Yeah, Zezex unfortunately takes himself out of the equation. This is the reset of those hard points. Dunya Games this time investing well on that Annihilator. Fran gets that double kill already. Circles around, finds nobody outside, but as he steps back in, Rage gets eliminated instantaneously. Nobody has been able to step up front just yet, and Fran is just absolutely popping off on that Annihilator, and all of the points being soaked up here by Dunya Games. Yes, they had spawn controls a little bit earlier on, but this time around, they are playing the meta of Smart Omega. Bash your heads into that hard point and win your gunfights. And it looks like the Indonesians have managed to find that adjustment to play the counter strategy against Smart Omega. But it's all going to depend on how they play this P3 next, because that's exactly where Smart Omega, with the help of Whoopi, managed to pull forth.
Yeah, they have to step in first on a P2 right now. 2 has able to step in. Rage right now, raging on the KRM as well. And this is just to show and pay back on what damage Dunya Games has to offer in this. But the points is still moving in towards them. And the rotation of Smart Omega is still proving to them that they can defend this and take a hold and take as much points and time as possible. And that Freddy has missed. And like that was surprising. That would be a good chance for Dunya Games to be able to get as much kills and clear that up, but this is left to the 27 seconds before they get and step into that before clearing that out.
Oh, this is shocking. I thought it will have to go all the way to P3, but Dunya Games making it work on P2 in itself. 17 seconds to go, and it looks like they are going to be able to catch up a little bit. Smart Omega already on that strong rotation towards P3 to secure the spawns out of the Special Forces base. Dunya Games doing two things at the very same time. Securing the scrap points, all with one player, ZZAX, and the rest of them, they rotate back. 3 of them holding on to the hard point. XS1 Goliath will be pulled out as well, but the players of Smart Omega, they take the hard point. Annihilator investment by Kendi. Can he get shut down, or will he shut down the beautiful XS1 Goliath? Whoopee from the back, just with the KSP tells Jetsky to get the heck out of there. And the Annihilator still rocks the party by Kendi, and he manages to dominate this P3. Dunya Games with their first, but Smart Omega just don't care.
They will not be making the same mistake of letting go of this money hill, though they have invested a lot already on P1 and P2, and it's mostly off that rotation later on that will help, but another Goliath will be pulled out by Dunya Games at this point. But this is the same story. It's more of a backstab as well as a damage, but I think no Annihilator will be in play at this moment, and that Goliath will live with 14 seconds remaining. The catch-up is on, but as they reach the 200 mark, Smart Omega has a good lead already in this game.
XS1 Goliath way too slow. The investment of the second XS1 Goliath was just a little bit of an overkill for me. That might have just been a big mistake from the Indonesian side. And now, as the Goliath heads on over to the hardpoint, Goliath wins the fight against Whoopi and takes over the hardpoint. That's fantastic. Dunya Games, big fight, but Goliath still alive and kicking. Rage taken out, but they equalize each other. Fantastic play. Whoopi actually pulled out the Annihilator, shut down Jetsky, and now he dominates out there on the battlefield. Rage drops back in here with the KRM. This is going to be a big kill, but ZX, fantastic slide challenge. Kendi isn't able to step back in just yet. He's waiting for a little bit of backup. The rest of the players a little bit too slow, and Dunya Games managed to win a couple of gunfights, but Rage steps on right back in, and that KRM says way too spicy. Jetsky, beautiful play, and he manages to shut him down with the Annihilator. The boxing gloves of his partner didn't manage to connect just yet, but 215 to 150. Dunya Games tethering on the edge of defeat here, Neptune.
Yes, very risky once Smart Omega let go of that hill a little bit too early. So hopefully they'll be able to hold onto it until the final second, or probably until where they are comfortable onto the next hill. Because so far that is where they failed earlier. And I would say with the lead that they have, though it is around 40 or 50, it is not that far, especially with a second. That is 1 minute that is required to get the points within the hill. And it is not that easy to go. It's not that difficult to go against Smart Omega, especially at the adjustment being done by Dunya Games at this point. But so far, it's just a trade-off back and forth. And who gets to live? It is the one not under that credit.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. And Whoopi now pulling out that KRM as well. All the players of Smart Omega going to town with Dunya Games, and it looks like they want to reverse out there. And you know, the suggestion that I put forth, that it might just be a little bit of a sneaky play by the players of Smart Omega to drop a couple of rounds, because either way, they are not going to get punished. I mean, you expecting Ace or MGU to pull away series from Smart Omega? You are a dreamer. The ones closest possible to them would be West Point Mamba Lowkings, but even at stage 3 for MSP, we've seen what Smart Omega can do against a team like Lowkings. And if Dunya Games does not find their way back in, it's gonna be a GG. But with 5 more points for Smart Omega to wrap things up, I think it is what it is. Gonzi brings out that XS1 Goliath. By the time he gets there, this game is gonna be over. Too slow, Mr. XS. Gonzi back to the lobby, and it looks like Smart Omega starts off hard.
Yeah, and that's when you use the score streak to the perfect timing. And timing is a little bit too short, especially with the Goliath in there. The investment will be lost, and like 2 out of 3 of that Goliath has been lost already. So hopefully they can start it off well on the next time they go and use that on to the next match of Hardpoint. But this time we jump into Search and Destroy, and well, we know the performance of both teams already on Search and Destroy. We talked about that so much earlier, but we'll have yet to see, because statistics has been proven wrong this time on how Smart Omega has showed up in this Hardpoint map.
And Dunia Games, on the other hand, multiple mistakes, and they were the ones who were punished. I mean, XS1 Goliath investment, I've said this a million times already, I really do not understand why you would bring that XS1 Goliath into play if it is not control. If it's control, I probably understand. But at Hardpoint, especially on a map like Summit, the timing of pulling out that XS1 Goliath is going to matter a lot. But the XS1 has seen a heavy nerf already. It's so easy to take it out of the equation. If you've got an Annihilator on your side, if you've got, even worse, a Predator missile, bye-bye XS1. But DG, they tried their best. The rotations, they were trying to hold on to the spawns. But Smart Omega, they said, okay, no thank you. We've got a different strat for Summit. We're not going to go and try to control those spawns all that too much. If you really want it, you can have it. We want the hard point instead. And they just ran this match. They put on a masterclass at Summit Hardpoint for Dunia Games to learn from.
Yeah, it's a different story overall for this King versus King battle. I think that they're starting to grow back to the Goliath, but Rage right now raging on 43 on the frags, 6,300 onto the points. This guy really is on fire on most of the respawns that he jumped into with the combination of Rage and Whoopi. I mean, the damage will be a lot against the opposing team.
And the opportunity to pick up the MVP spot wasn't very easy because Whoopi started off hot, but Rage, just being that raging bull that he is out there on the battlefield towards that mid part of that game, managed to pull in front and absolutely conquer that kill feed earlier on. And after a beautiful, well-structured victory for the side of Smart Omega, we now move in to my personal highlight match. I want to see what sort of spice we have on the side of Dunia Games, especially when it comes to dealing with the sniping prowess of the one and only Whoopi.
Yeah, we have Dunia Games right now going in for the defender, and the attackers will be Smart Omega. So we'll have to find out as to how that snipe will be countered right here, especially as Dunia Games has a great probability to initiate that kill first, but that will depend on how fast the approach will be for Smart Omega at this point.
Beeline for that B bomb site, and it looks like just two defenders are waiting for them. Oh, great stun! Whoopi stopped in his path, and one good shutdown by ZZX. Rage manages to take him out. Good trade out. Gonzi dropped by Idra, and now just like that, the players of Smart Omega already at that B bomb site to take over. But the objective player, Risky, hasn't really found an ingress in towards to plant that bomb. Finally does, and the pressure is on. Dunia Games, this is a 3v4, needs to find an entrance towards the B bomb side, and they stand a better chance of rotating around long from the side of passageway, but instead they take the shortest shortcut, and Jet Sky gets punished.
Yeah, 3 entry points at this point, and they're trying to test out, but with 3 men remaining, it might be a test to the death. Oh, good exchange right now, but Trailer Container right here on a 1 versus 1, and it is a loss, and because it's Whoopi who's guarding that point, 1 point goes to Smart Omega.
Yeah, fantastic play by Smart Omega. This is a good opener. And just like that, you can see exactly who's the most dominant team out there on S&D, at the very least so far. No other team has been as solid as Smart Omega on S&D, and they proved it against WDC Freeslot. But against Dunia Games as well, can it be done? Whoopi Angle has got that right idea, but execution was just a tad bit too slow. Sidestepped by his opponent. Rage! Oh my god! That Rage on the KRM, too spicy, Neptune.
Yeah, not looking good. Zen is just overextending in there a little bit too close and being hurt by Smart Omega. And with that initiation of the kill, they just goes in towards passageway and take backyard on to that warehouse number 4. It is now a 3v5 situation where the plan is about to happen.
Warehouse number 4 once again plant by the one and only Candy this time around. Earlier Risky got robbed. Sorry, Candy got robbed, so Risky picked up the slack for him. And the pressure is piled on once again. Indonesians, what's your response? Candy, too good. Pre-aim, turns the corner, shuts him down. Whoopi spots the player, but execution soft, pulls out the shorty, way too good. Final one with a backstab. Quick scope's not gonna be possible. Indra gets the god nade, but he shuts himself down too.
I mean, that's a risk that he's willing to take. It's a 1-1 trade with the manpower. They have the advantage, but it's good rotation being done. I mean, this is what we're talking about. As the attacker, you need to understand when to slow down on that approach, get that initial frag, and then later on plan an approach on where the opposite side can be taken of the defenders. And this is one thing, the spread out, a 1-3-1 split by Smart Omega being done right here.
Mind games by the Filipinos. Smart Omega, after 2 quick rushes, slow the pace down, waiting to catch Indonesia off guard. Dunia Games, good nade sent out. Can it get a little bit of information? Answer is no. Opi peeks around the corner, timing should be on his side. He is the first one there. One slides away. Nobody to spot out just yet. Whoopi repositions. As slow as this may be, it's a tense moment. That nade, if it connects, it will be a GG. Whoopi's not going to find anyone on the side of warehouse number 4 as well. Nobody's holding on to those back boxes. Only one guy on defense, Zeze X, at the B bomb site. So moving there might just be a good idea, but it's all about a game of information. Who finds that first, Neptune?
Yeah, it's more of where they can position with the greatest advantage. And with that frag, even after that tick of 1 minute, no one has made a move just yet, and they are being pressured by time. Alpha push right now as 3 members is already in position for Dunia Games. Takedown by Whoopi in there, but quickly traded in range. Oh, kills after kills. It is now down for the plant, and 1 left as Zeze will be waiting.
Zeze, Dunia Games, I expected a little bit more from these players against the one and only Smart Omega. But Smart Omega, we talked about the game of calculation. Could they afford to drop a series against WDC Freeslot? The answer was hell yeah. In the honor of yeah. But, against Dunia Games, it seems like they are not in the mood to play any bit of mind games. They just want to smash them, take the dub, and move on to day number 3. And so far, it looks like Smart Omega has been quite stellar at doing exactly that, Neptune.
Yeah, and then now they have to switch it to a quick push, but that has been traded off to the 3 members, and now left to 2. But
Big one!
Oh, but the push will not be hampered. Oh, Zen in there for takedown. Now left with Whoopi from far away. It's a 1v4, AJ.
1v4, make that a 1v3, all thanks to that, but great pressure coming through with the Peacekeeper, manages to hold him in place, and it's just a 1 single round pullback by Dunia Games. Can they now snowball this into something bigger? Smart Omega, it was a great start, but the Indonesians are slowly waking up, calling them out on some of their gameplay, and that Punisher was just perfect. And this time, it's a slow round, and we saw exactly how that went for the players of Smart Omega earlier on. This time round, let's see if those angles are locked down perfectly.
And we'll have to find out if the slow really is the key for the success of Smart Omega. We have 1 Rage who's a little bit too close in there against 3 members, but information really needs to be gathered earlier on. They will not be risking less than 1 minute because they might fail to go in for the approach as well as for the kill. Back to the 1-3-1, but Barracks Hut will be the position of 3 of the members. But as we can see, an anticipation of an alpha push coming in from Candy right now. Grenades will be thrown to get that information, but Whoopi is now getting information as well. Well, it's more of a good hiding spot from Dunia Games. They know where they will not be seen by Whoopi using that sniper.
And you have to play your experience well against a team like Smart Omega, or you will be punished. especially by a guy named Whoopi. As I say that, Zen gets dropped. Whoopi gets a double. Rage takes out Gonzi. And just like that, Smart Omega have got control of this map. 40 seconds to go. But it looks like the numbers will be on the side of the Filipinos as Risky drops Zeze X. Fran, final player, Peacekeeper. Can it be the savior of the day for Dunia Games? I think not. And Idra makes sure of that.
It's now 1-4 underscores, and well, this is expected from Smart Omega, but not so much from Dunia Games. They are making a mistake of bashing their heads in there on a 3-1 split, a 3-1-1 split, to be honest. It's more of the delayed reaction from those coming from B that has hampered the performance of Dunia Games at this point, because this time we are seeing Smart Omega on a quick rush right now, and they will not be countered right away for this push, AJ.
They most definitely won't be counted. Angles perfect by Whoopi, but gets punished by Jet Sky. That's the supremacy of that KSP. Managing to hold him in spot. Oh, Mistro. But that stun's not going to affect them too much at all. Candy has a great angle, punishes Jet Sky, whereas Fran gets taken out by Risky. Candy the man, 5-1. Smart Omega does not drop a single beat.
And that is a mistake being done. That nade and the panic run into the white warehouse has cost them 2 lives already. A quick turnaround being done because of luck. So hopefully that will not happen this time on this game. Otherwise, Dunia Games might have a great momentum later on. But with the scores right now, 4-point lead by Smart Omega. All they have to do is defend and get the information. Quickly rush towards where the teams of Dunia Games will be moving in for the plant and the push. And then it's just up to them for the mechanical skills. Mechanical skills aside, like, they are just into for the tactics and understanding the rotation of the opposing team.
Everybody's playing those tight angles, pixel peeping their opponents. Rage opportunity. KRM eats ahead, but Fran drops Rage instantaneously as the boy gets a little overexcited. Whoopi headshot from afar. Zen punished. Whoopi once again opportunity. One slides into his crosshair, but the punishing isn't really delivered by Whoopi. Good grenade as it is popped just to force the players of Dunia Games away. Just a little bit. Does not connect. But the game of numbers on the side of Smart Omega once again. Even when they are all equal, Smart Omega punishes with them having this numbers advantage. Things just got a little bit more difficult for the players of Dunia Games.
Yeah, and it's a good thing that Fran was able to cross over from showers right now, but not so much as Candy will be able to take him down on the snipe. Now, the rotation of 2 members with 2 as well waiting. The bomb will be on the ground. Idra will just be waiting for that entry, but Risky, no waiting for him. He will risk everything to take down, and Gonzi will be out. Match point for Smart Omega.
Yeah, they've got the game of numbers on their side, so Risky surely is allowed to take all of those risks, but you gotta love the way Whoopi is playing this. And the biggest question I had in my mind was, what sort of answer does Dunia Games have? What sort of a strategy do they have to shut down Whoopi? I guess the answer is nothing. They don't really have a response. They don't really have an answer for this ravaging monster out there in the battlefield. But Jetsky drops Risky. This is a good opener. Whoopi finding one, but cannot find the angle just yet. Zen manages to shut down Idra as Jetsky is traded out. The game of numbers to the side of Dunia Games this time round. Rage and Whoopi, this deadly duo, they're still alive. Whoopi brings out the shot, he does not get a hit mark. Oh, quick scope, but Zen trades him out after shutting down Rage. Fantastic response by Dunia Games. But Smart Omega still on that match point, so close to taking this 2-0 on Dunia Games.
Yeah, I'll have to see if that win will be the momentum of Dunia Games right now. They are an attacker, so they have a chance to take this pace of the game. But with the position right now being taken and Whoopi starting it against Fran, it is now looking well for this team of Smart Omega. But the trade-off in there has lost them, bringing us to a 4-4.
4-4, Whoopi traded out. Good response. Candy picks up that snipe this time around. Come on. Give the boys of DG a break. And Candy not getting aggressive. Rage does and is instantaneously punished. 3v3 now. Good stun on Zen just to slow the pace down a little bit. Idra backstab. But I believe that move is going to be called out by the Indonesians. Manages to sneak into the white warehouse too easily. And that's going to be a detriment to Dunia Games.
Yeah, it's a 1v3, a 1v4 situation right now, and Gonzi will be at a loss, right? Idra will be sided,
nice.
but a takedown, but the rotation will be known. The pinch might be happening, but no movement just yet. They're just waiting on that bomb and waiting for the time to count down. The risk will not be taken by Smart Omega. All they have to do is to be patient, and that is a virtue. There's no other virtue that they need to take right now. They need to be waiting, but Gonzi sneakily in there, patient as well. It is now a 1v1 against Kendi, AJ.
Yeah, great plays coming through from Gonzi. He's not going for the plant, just going for the hunt, and that's a good decision. Gonzi was able to punish Kendi. Great clutch by the side of Dunia Games, all thanks to Gonzi.
Gonzi in there, like understanding where the rotation is once he makes that kill, where to move so that he will not be spotted as well. Now, as we can see, they are going for the hard push on Bravo right now, leaving one behind. Get information if the approach will be crucial, but Fran was able to take down Risky, and I think the Bravo push will be at hand right now, as 2 and 1 will be going in for the defense, but we have Zeze, who might be able to take hold of one, but Whoopi already balanced it off.
Oh, Whoopi almost got that, but Fran manages to punish. Good stun coming through just to slow down the pacing of Dunia Games, and shut down by Kendi from afar. A double snipe setup, one that Dunia Games just was not expecting to deal with, and a 2v1 on that match point. Just so close for Smart Omega to secure this now, but Gonzi, he got the clutch earlier. Same sort of numbers against him, same players against him. Let's see if he can get it this time around as well.
All I have to do is go sneakily and understanding all the corners, but there you go, another hit against Kendi, and it's now left to 1, but there's only 2 more points that he can cover, and as we can see, we have Rage who backed off just to make sure that he has a secure spot on that bomb, and probably a good hiding spot to wait on for that remaining 40 seconds, AJ.
It's all about the timing as well as the angles held on here. Rage backs away. KRM. So CQC, Rage is going to get this pop. Unless he misses that shot, man. Or, you know, the gods of RNG give him a hit mark by some chance. But the KSP should be able to pop his head off as long as he can get those first few bullets to connect. Bomb picked up. Rage knows his positioning. Rotates around. Timing. Oh, gets the hit mark, and Gonzi finishes him off. No even a hit mark. Gonzi perfection. And now, this is Smart Omega held onto that match point for so long now. But it's still so close to the finish, Neptune.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was surprised with how Arthur is doing right now. Gonzi is a different kind of monster at this point, going in for the 1v2 clutch for the twice already in this game, and it's against Smart Omega. The smarts right now from Gonzi is proving it right here. But as we can see, the attack is still on the side of Dunia Games, and they are now heading to Alpha right now.
Oh my god, the damage's been dealt already. Kendi with a triple. Hydra secures the headshot onto Zen. Smart Omega finally puts this to rest, 7-4.
And they don't want to risk it. That they want to make sure that they win. Oh, for the other side, I mean, it's a smart move coming from Gonzi, but it's more of how Smart Omega responded, especially on that last moment. It's the confidence that Dunia Games has that they can end it when they're waiting, but they rush it a little bit too quick for that final, and I think Smart Omega take advantage of what is going on in the minds of DG Esports.
Yeah, DG, they were a little confident at the very start. You could see those big smiles heading on into this matchup, and, you know, they might have just been suckered in by the players of Smart Omega after that 2-1 loss that they received. Once again, you know, I'm just playing devil's advocate. Yes, they cannot play fakes on stage 4. But what's your worst case scenario? Who's gonna punish you? NGU? Ace? And it'll be a hilarious moment if one of those two teams actually does manage to punish Smart Omega later on. But the probability of that happening, sir, is close to none. And West Point Mamba Lowkings, even though they are absolutely supreme when it comes to some of the strategy, when it comes to the gunfights, the mechanical capability, Smart Omega is just classes above them. And Kendi, this guy, managing to rip away that MVP from Whoopi himself as he picks up that sniper. And, you know, meeting Kendi in real life, he's He's that poker face that you see all the time. I'm actually surprised to see him smiling in this photo because all the time, in fact, he scares me a little bit with how big of a poker face he has a majority of the time out there on the battlefield, right? But one thing about this boy is he's got that focus, that hyper focus, and whenever he gets into the zone, he will reign supreme. 7-4. It was not as easy as it started off for the players of Smart Omega, but they do manage to rip away a map from the players of Dunia Games at Summit, and now on their own map, they secure a solid win. On to Raid, a favorite map of the players of Smart Omega, and we talked about this earlier on. The prediction for Raid will depend on the performance as well as the gunfights that we see on Summit, so I think we know exactly where this is gonna go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to close out the details that we have right now from the past because so far it has been broken already. Smart Omega is now on their feet and they will be showing up once again. Now it's a chance for Dunia Games to let go of what happened from the previous past two rounds or for the past two matches because they need to focus. They need to get that at least 1 point in this against Smart Omega to get ahead a little bit in terms of points.
Good flash. And that's a good response from both sides. Rage. Engagement goes soft as he gets taken out of the equation, but full trades coming right back through. Dunia Games sneaking away that one marker, but instantaneous response as Risky saves the day. Fran dropped, Zeze X dropped, and they clear off those markers as well. Smart Omega, sublime defense, but look at the setup coming through from the players of Dunia Games. Instantaneously rotating over towards that A control point, but Smart Omega, they smell something fishy, and they rotate as well, and they should be able to get exactly that done from the side of money.
Yeah, though B is much easier to capture earlier on, but Alpha right now with that rotation, I think it's bringing more of that frags into the favor of Smart Omega. So much so it's only 2-point lead in terms of the life. Back to Bravo right now. This Zeze is now trying to attempt for a tick, but will be taken down and will be taken back on that hill. Now, on that point, but 23-18 onto the frags. A little bit careful for Smart Omega not to get down below 20 on the life point, and they're just getting kills after kills and smarting up.
I mean, that was such a huge opportunity for Dunia Games to confuse Smart Omega because they had the player who was ripping away that B control point, and they had two players at that A control point, but neither one wanted to actually step onto the flag and play the game of distraction, which I really do not understand why. Dunia Games went for kills instead, and they are going to get punished because controls is not about kills only. It's mainly about controlling the control point. Hence the name Control. 5 more seconds to go. Smart Omega punishes Dunia Games for misplaying this initial round. But 2 seconds onto the hole here. Dunia Games still trying to force the issue with 2 players sitting down inside. Predator takes out one from Laundry side. One finds it already, but it's just a single marker on there with that final slay. It's GGWP. Smart Omega pulls victory number 1, punishing Dunia Games for their mistakes.
That gameplay in the final 5 seconds could have been done already on Alpha earlier, as you pointed out, AJ. It's more of the smarts on like making that distraction as well as a quick rotation. They are taking a long rotation and giving time for Smart Omega to get back into position. Now, as we can see, it's now a 1-4 split for the side of Dunia Games, and everyone else is just heading into basketball court and to the swimming pool, and they are taking advantage of how difficult this hill has to be taken, and they are making it easy for this team.
You see what I mean? Right at AMR, you use it at control. It gives you a lot. Don't bring it out when it comes to hardpoint. I think this is, sorry, not hardpoint. Don't bring it out when it comes to S&D. I think a lot of those players really try to force the issue with the right tech, and Smart Omega this time round, I mean, ferocious in terms of attack. A captured very easily, and the control point, that's the more difficult one to pull away, and Dunia Games really very scrappy, very messy in terms of setup, and they're playing control all wrong, and I'm actually surprised.
It's more of the mind games that has been played by Smart Omega. They know that's the most difficult hill or point to take, and they prioritize that, knowing that the defend will not be that much compared to B. Now that they have that advantage already, they can switch from both sides and pinch this square center and kill or take those kills against Dunya Games one at a time, but they need to be careful not to be risky and get power position like the Laundry right now that is being held by one member right here, but will be taken down and Annihilator in play already.
Wow, display by the players of Smart Omega. Oof, Idra wastes its Annihilator, but Risky's there for that backup trade. Steps on in. Movement. God, Risky, way too good. Shuts down those plays. Tags up 2 players at the same time. 3rd player on for the tag. Runs out of bullets. GG. WP Gonzi annihilates him with the Annihilator. But the game of numbers all on the side for Smart Omega. A 10 life deficit now for Dunya Games. And Smart Omega already ripping away the B control point as well. 2 markers taken away. Rage on for the slay. Smart Omega dominating Dunya Games. This was the story of David versus Goliath after Smart Omega ducked down a couple of their supremacy against WDC Freeslot, suckering in the Indonesian side, and Dunya Games never saw this coming.
The rare occurrence of 2 capture flags in here on control has been brought in by Smart Omega. Now another attempt might be done
Nobody
this time,
home.
but no, it's a different story and they are now dying one at a time. Now let's see if they'll be able to turn this around. 30 lives still remains for Smart Omega. They are smarting up. They don't want to risk those, and it's just frags after frags against Dunya Games.
Oh my goodness, this is such a different team going up against Dunya Games in comparison to what we saw out there against WDC. XS1 Goliath pulled out. Idra this time around going to try to ravage these players. Risky can go in for the investment into that XS1 Goliath as well, so that we can have one bombastic finisher for the side of Smart Omega here. I mean, what are you keeping it for? You're clearly winning this match already, and even if you make a couple of mistakes now, there's no way Dunya Games is going to be able to punish you. They've only lost 4 lives so far. Dunya Games struggling, and this is the attacking side. Zen manages to take Risky out of the equation, but XS1 Goliath on that standby for that B flag already. A flag on the rip coming through from Zeze X, who wins out his gunfight. Both players getting the job done, but they are a little bit too slow. The engagements at Laundry sublime, and Zeze gets knocked out, but he's already taken away 1 marker because he assists the one and only Zen to jump on in there, and the XS1 Goliath rotating. Brother, a little bit too slow, don't you think?
I mean, it doesn't matter if
Hunter
it's
killer.
slow. I mean, with the kills that has been done in there, especially with the hold that Kendi has already. Oh my goodness. This guy can really slay 20 already, and the points 2 less against Risky, who we know is a slayer already. And there we go. You asked for it. And the Goliath will be pulled out in there for the final moment with only 4 lives remaining.
Yep, but the A flag now on for the pull, but the backstab by Kendi can just undo them. And this is a triple XS1 Goliath stack for the side of Smart Omega in this round. The first one got taken out a little prematurely, but it doesn't really matter. A perfect 3-0 donut served up by the David versus Goliath. Dunya Games came down crashing hard.
A lot of expectation from Dunya Games at this point, but Smart Omega smartened up, and also they're serious right now. It might have been the R's slacking off earlier, and to your point as well, there's not much of an offensive against Smart Omega to get that top 3. So it's more of placing onto the playoffs that they need to focus on, and then later on bring what they had in here against Dunya Games for all the teams that they're going against. Well, I'll have to find out if that is really the case, but a good showing. But Smart Omega in this play of control. I mean, smart moves, smart rotation, even great defensive in there. As an attacker, it's very minimal that you've seen a quick battle just like this, but Smart Omega has it covered.
But you know, I'm really feeling quite suspicious about the engagements of the players from this Indonesian side, right? Because I know Dunya Games is capable of so much more, but they really didn't go hard against Smart Omega at all. I mean, we were predicting a fake out by Smart Omega against WDC, but what if this is a fake out from Dunya Games instead? Because once again, these teams stand to lose absolutely nothing. But the only difference here could just be that Dunya Games does not understand what West Point Mamba Lowkings is capable of. Smart Omega knows how to deal with them. Does Dunia Games know how to deal with West Point Mamba Lowkings? You can't play the game of dropping sets against anyone out there if you do not know exactly what you're going to be able to guarantee yourself. Smart Omega knows they can guarantee some points. Some of those points that they cannot guarantee, on the other hand, isn't going to affect them way too much. It's a single round robin. You do not get two chances against the same team unless you make it through to the playoffs and have a rematch over there. So far, I think the mind games of Smart Omega has been absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I mean, so far earlier when as we watched the previous matches, Smart Omega jumped into, like, oh, I'm seeing fans out there in the chat, right, like, really disappointed from the earlier battle. Like, WDC Freeslot has brought in so much in that fight. Now, this time, I think a lot of cheers coming from the fans out there as it is a clean 3-0 for Smart Omega. So that is what we're talking about. There's a lot of hopes, even if one falls down. It's how you manage to stand up. And stand up, Smart Omega did.
And, you know, not only stand up, right? They managed to dominate that matchup against Dunia Games, which is why I think it's sus. I don't think you can dominate Dunia Games as easy as that. I mean, Dunia Games is a superb team when it comes to engagements. They've got that slaying capability, and I expected this match to actually go the distance, but it didn't. It ended up in a 3-0, and this is one of the Goliaths of the competition. This is the best team out of the Indonesian side, and they just ate a donut served up hot. In fact, I don't think this is a donut anymore. The players of Smart Omega literally just slapped down Dunia Games. But this could be the biggest fake out. This could just be Dunia Games trying to allow the other teams to underestimate them, maybe for a good setup against the one and only WDC Freeslot, because that's going to be a bigger series, and Dunia Games might just be able to play the exact same mind game strategy of Smart Omega against WDC Freeslot. I mean, I tell you, Group B has just got my mind boggled up, but I am absolutely loving the storyline here, Neptune.
Yeah, definitely. And, well, going into the other side of that point, AJ, if you're going to go for the mind games, at least take a 2-1. This time it's a 3-0, so it's very difficult to tell. Probably something is really off from the gameplay of Dunia Games this time, because they were not performing as expected against Smart Omega, or Smart Omega have a different ace on their sleeves right now. But as we look at the standings, we have completed the first day for Group B, and comparing it from Group A, I mean, not so much so that we have a 2-0 all the way from the top. It's only WDC Freeslot in there, and there's more of technicalities for some in these matches as well. But, well, I'm really loving it how this is ending, AJ.
Yeah, I'm surprised we're actually showing the scores in this way, because I would have thought that each and every single win gives you 1 point, and therefore the leaderboards can actually be a little bit more accurate than this. Because yes, West Point Mamba Lowkings does have that 1-0, but Smart Omega technically has more victories on those maps in comparison to West Point Mamba Lowkings. Yes, they did play more matches than the West Point Mamba Lowkings, but yeah, it's okay. We'll just deal with that a little bit later on. But unfortunate for Dunia Games, man. I mean, they just ate a very, very spicy donut handed out by Smart Omega. And the mistakes that we detected on the side of Smart Omega when it came to that raid hardpoint was nowhere in question. It was not shown at all on Summit. In fact, that one-sided map played to perfection to the side of the Philippines.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of really how the mind games go. Even I'm mind blown, because we mentioned a lot already from the previous engagement on how it will affect Smart Omega in that game, but I don't think like it affect them on the reverse side. So like, this is how some of the teams plan to play it. They want to be unpredictable, and they're doing well. They're doing well to be unpredictable, AJ.
They most definitely are. But at the end of the day, this is not just a 2-day affair. We have got 6 back-to-back days of group stage for the Garena qualifiers. And for all of you guys, we've got a little bit of a present. Thank you so much for sticking by on this broadcast all the way up to this point. We've got a redemption code here for you. The Backpap Vinyl Wrapped Unlimited code. So take a quick screenshot, share it with all of your friends, all of your members of the COD community through WhatsApp or Messenger or whatever platform that you want to use out there. But just make sure you get the code to everyone, because everyone can redeem redeem this, but it's time limited. Make sure you get this sorted out before... What's the time right now? Actually, you guys have got up to 10 p.m. We had two, like, hands down, I wouldn't say disqualification,
Aces.
but walkover victories. And I was expecting a great matchup between NGU and Aces, man. And all I got was a disappointment.
Well, Aces has been served. Like, it's not only Donut that has been served. Aces has been served as well. Like, Aces will plan to use that gameplay. We have a name for that gameplay already. Like, we're expecting to see, hopefully not anymore, because we want to see the performance of the games. But like, it might happen in the future, especially if you know, or times is adjusted, or if you know that it's a very little chance. Hopefully that's not the case, because giving up early is really a big loss already. It doubles up the loss because you didn't even fight.
Yeah, the journey's not over for some of these teams. Yes, they did not fight and they got the 3-0, but for Junior Games, they went in there for a tough battle and they ate at 0-3, and that's a little unfortunate for them, but we do see probabilities of them, of course, bouncing right back up. Taking the game against NGU and Aces might be a little bit more easier for the side of Junior Games. But the next series that I'm actually looking forward to for DG is against West Point Mamba Lowkings. I mean, obviously, it will be a blockbuster matchup against WDC, but I want to see what the Lowkings can do against a team like Junior Games, Neptune.
Yeah, I mean, the Lowkings, we don't have much of performance because of the ace that has been pulled earlier. So I think they can reserve all the strats. Coach Olea can put up a little bit more, draw up a little bit more of a gameplays later on. But there we have it. I mean, it has ended early for this. All 5 series already ended, and that is just day number 2. A lot more will be happening moving forward. You know the schedule, you know the time. Just be there, like and share the stream. Neptune the Gemmaker, see you together with the Mustacho, AJ, and Cali Gaming. Will be back tomorrow for yet another Call of Duty mobile battle for the Garena Regional Qualifiers. Good night and goodbye.